Hi, Vincent. I suppose the advantage of StreamYard is that there are no annoying glitches.
Yeah, I don't even use it anymore. I didn't renew my subscription. I didn't do anything like that.
Well, I guess it makes our conversation more searchable in theory if they're not shadow banning us. Um, and I guess it's still more fun with people being able to post their insults and comments, I guess. Anyway, I posted it on the thing, and I was just wondering what you thought of Maud, because I guess I didn't think he was getting it about baptism, and apparently he was Catholic and now Anglican. And, oh, I just don't think the Christians get it. So it's going to take them years to get it, right? Anyway, since I didn't know him that well, I thought I'd let him speak his piece. So he's I mean, Cerema. What did you think of Cerema?
All this stuff about.
That was so
Yeah,
depressing. I just couldn't even be bothered to argue.
It's beyond. It's beyond help. It's beyond help. Just give up, Claire.
Oh, I just feel compelled to, carry on because I guess I can't just not stop going on about it. Anyway, I think Stephen might join us because he's asking about why the space ended so suddenly. So perhaps you'll come.
Jolly man. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just, with all these Christians, I don't think anything's ever going to get fixed. And then you talk to them and everything's about Jesus coming back. And then, how Christian, what are they going to do? What his plan was to not allow Jews to speak English.
I don't even know. It's some crazy plan, I mean, I suppose, if you had an antennae turned on properly, you would think, not another one of those. It's not that, I don't get why people, might think it's the Jews. It's sort of, if they're really deep into it, it's going to take you quite a while to persuade them that, oh, hey, maybe Jews aren't to blame, and then they'll accuse you of being a Jew, and so your energy and time is taken up with them, persuading them that, well, the problem is the failure of Christianity, right? And the thing is that the longer these people, have believed that Jews are responsible, it becomes a religious faith. And it's like, oh, well, I know all these anti-Semites. We are a proper community, and and YouTubers and content producers cater to us. They pander to us, which they do because it's kind of money making now. I think Esther was right in that.
Yeah, they're making money now, and they're selling what people want to hear. And most anti-Semitism, like most people, is lowbrow. Lowbrow anti-Semitism. I mean, that's why none of, I was talking to them last night. This idea, gay rights is Talmudic. Well, quote me in the Talmud where that's happening. Why do you want quotes from the Talmud? Look at Tel Aviv. That's fucking retarded.
Yeah, because there's nothing in the Talmud that says Tel Aviv has to be gay. These people are just so crazy. You can't get a sensible answer out of them. They're not serious about logic, right? They
God,
literally don't care.
Oh God, my therapist. The thing about the most disgusting quote I saw today. My therapist was like, "I want you to start journaling," and so she gave me a journal, but it was one of these journals that has all these like flowery quotes in it and happy quotes and stuff. And it says there's something more important than logic, and that's imagination.
Well, she's a woman.
Well, and then both of my therapists, and then so I didn't see her today. She just gave me the journal, and then I talked to my other therapist, and she agreed, and she said that faith takes imagination.
Well, yes, you need a bit of both, but you need to be able to use hypothetical reason, so that if there's, then that kind of thing, and a lot of people just can't do it. I thought, even children could do it, but it seems they can't. They just lost the ability to manipulate ideas. They can't think in the abstract, or they just want to try, try the same thing again. And I'm saying, well, there's no time. There's no time for me to form a political party. And it's like, in the UK, we've had UKIP. UKIP has been around for 20 years, and the BNP even longer. And you think, well, why would you want to form another political party? Because it's obvious, isn't it, that every time you vote, the government gets worse. And I'm basically saying, well, the political process actually worsens our government the more we participate in it. And people don't get it. It's too abstract for them, or people who understand what I'm saying don't quite believe it. Maybe you don't quite believe it.
Quite believe what?
That every time you vote, the government gets worse. So it's time to stop voting.
I can believe it a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess all of us have these beliefs that are in our mind that we sort of half believe and half don't. And this, I think, is really the problem. We all have these these statements that we sometimes want to believe and sometimes want to disbelieve, and we never make up our minds. And so we never get anywhere about solving our problems, because we can't just, a lot of people obviously find it hard to think, oh, Christianity was wrong. And I, what is the problem? It's like, well, if you really did believe in God, idolatry is a problem, isn't it? And they could say, well, yes, it is, or no, it isn't, or stuff, but they don't even do that, because I think a lot of people, it's like, who the hell cares whether it's idolatry or not? And when they say that, they don't actually believe in the Abrahamic God. Or am I wrong?
Well, they have their own definition of idolatry, and but Jews came up with the definition of idolatry, though, they say that the Jewish definition of idolatry changed, and that the Jews used to believe in Shatuf, and what is that noise?
It's Stephen joining us.
So it's me, I didn't realise I was on.
That Jews were really practicing Shatuf, and that the Trinity isn't idolatry, and all this other shit.
Yeah, but the thing is, you jump on them like a ton of bricks. It's sort of like, well, if you don't care about idolatry, then it means you don't believe God exists to punish you for your mortal sin, because under Christianity, idolatry is a mortal sin, and blasphemy, which is heresy, actually attracts the death penalty, and this is confirmed in the Torah. But because people just don't believe it, like they can't process that information properly. I mean, those Christians that you were talking to, it's sort of, oh, Jesus wouldn't do such a terrible thing and be mean to us after we've been worshipping him, But, I mean, they can't even hypothesize that, if God actually exists, he won't agree with all this idolatry. But then, it's sort of like, yeah, but, who believes in all that shit? And then you think, well, then why call yourself a Christian? Oh, it's just a brand. I don't really believe in it, but it's traditional. I like LARPing as a knight crusader.
Right. Yeah, I know a lot of them, like Stephen J. James. I was raised it. That's why I'm holding on to it. It's my heritage.
Holding on to what?
Christianity.
Well, hardly. I mean, come on. Let's be fair.
You did that video where you had your
Look at his
little,
necklace.
yeah, the necklace.
I'm a
He
cultural
showed
Christian.
it.
I'm a cultural
Dramatically.
Christian. Yes, what I said was, if it comes down to it, and the battle lines get drawn, I know which side I'm on. I'm a cultural Christian at the end of the day. If the battle lines get drawn theologically, but I mean, fucking hell, though.
Well, they are being drawn. You just can't see it. You just can't take the whole thing seriously.
No, I can't, because I don't believe in it. Obviously.
No, but can't you believe that people do believe in it? And the ones
Yes,
who
I can accept
do,
that. Absolutely.
the ones who do will actually do something about their beliefs. Because, okay, what I'm complaining about, Stephen, is that people say they believe in this, they say believe in that, but it's sort of like, well, if you said you loved me, Stephen, you would bring me flowers every day, and you wouldn't hit me, and you would be unfaithful. It's like your words do not match your action.
Yes, I agree.
And
100%.
everybody's just talking bullshit.
Somebody came on your space and they said to Serima, I want to thank you for talking all about, like, I know, the religious stuff or whatever and that, and then when you questioned him, I don't go to church, or I don't do any of this. So you're like, well, if you actually
He's such
believed
a bullshitter. Serima used to be a Ralph fanboy. He was in all his streams. And now he hates Ralph. And Ralph
Does he
has
hate Ralph?
disappeared.
Does he hate
Yeah.
Ralph still?
Yeah, because
What did he
Ralph went through this, I'm a Christian, blah, blah, and Christian, and now Hashem.
Yeah, Ralph is.
So I have to
I
ask
think
him.
Ralph is a secret Jew, isn't he? I think really he's a Hindu. I think Vincent's theory came to roost with Ralph. He's a Hindu.
Well, I don't even know if he believes in the whole thing himself, because he recently appeared on Khaled's stream, and Khaled didn't even remember him, but he'd appeared on Khaled's channel,
What did he
some
say?
time ago.
Alhamdulillah,
No, it was
Khalid.
just nonsense. It's
Alhamdulillah,
like,
Khalid.
people
Let's talk about coding. I've been very busy coding. Alhamdulillah.
You see, I don't even remember now. It's just so ridiculous. And Stephen, it's like you don't even have a message other than a message of despair, stirring up apathy wherever you can.
Who, me?
So
Me?
why would you be so fanatically pushing
No,
your
you're
message
wrong.
of despair?
I am not stirring up despair. I am not a black pillar.
Sorry, I'm talking about Stephen Broughton.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. Yes, 100%. Well, he lives in Serbia. He's convinced that
He's bored.
Russia has to win. If he's not a Kremlin agent, he's probably not. But he's probably, a bit like you get so sucked down. Once you start listening to RT and all this Russian shit, their entire narrative, whether it's right or wrong, is that the West is so bad that you just have to get out, and oh my God, it's so bad, everything's so terrible, your life's so miserable, and so you imbibe that within your consciousness, because this is Russian state basically
Nobody wants a
agit
stupid
prop
war
against
in
the West.
Ukraine. They're getting killed over nothing on our continent, and it's going to blow up.
We're not
in
talking about
our
that.
faces.
Irrelevant.
But anyway, I was
Forget
happy
about
to
that.
hear you say the other day that you supported Trump, and Trump would end the situation there. So, well, at least I got that.
I do support Trump. I think, look, we have to see part 2 of the movie. I don't see how anybody can, it's like watching Home Alone 1 and then not going to see Home Alone 2. I mean, come on. We have to see it. Plus, I think there's a lot of subversive propaganda about Trump's second term, particularly coming from people like Nick Fuentes and people on the distant right who should know better. Trump is trying to play the electoral game, but his agenda, if you look up donaldjtrump.com / I think it's agenda, his agenda, I started reading it out on your stream, is incredibly radical. It talks about deporting every illegal immigrant in the country. I mean, what more do you want? We have to see if he's going to do this.
Well, ask Vincent. He's not happy because
He's not playing the political game because, look,
No, Vincent, we can't hear you.
we can't hear you.
the political climate has changed, and Israel is no longer necessarily a sacred cow. And, first of all, if you're going to come out and say, we're going to get rid of all the Jew haters, those are his exact words. What does that mean, get rid of them? Put them in jail? Kill them? What are you talking about? On his agenda, and when he openly says it, we're going to deport all the radical Hamas supporters. Wait, a lot of those people are American citizens. What do you mean you're going to deport them?
He just meant the Muslims without U.S. citizenship, obviously.
Look, for one thing, you're wrong about this idea that Israel isn't a sacred cow. I mean, come on. Look, the biggest constituency in America is the Christian Zionists. And then you have, obviously, the Israeli, the Jews of America are incredibly powerful parts. So this is twofold. He has to get the money from the Jews. He has to then get the Christian Zionist vote. This is... If you lose that, then he definitely loses. So you can't start appealing to fucking Muslims.
What percentage of America is Christian Zionist? And then I want to know how many of these Christian Zionists actually live in swing states. Like, what percentage of America is Christian Zionist?
Let's ask Rock. What percentage? Let's find out. Well, approximately 70% of the US is Christian. So, what do they call it? Evangelicals, aren't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 30% of the US population.
That's what I was expecting. I was expecting about
That's
only
a
30.
huge number. That's way more than our anti-Israel. The anti-Israel sentiment is just blown up by social media. Yes, nobody likes seeing babies killed, but
Can you say 30% is of what? Is what?
Evangelicals,
is evangelical Christian.
Christian Zionists. Okay, that's what I was
Is
expecting
30% of Trump's support?
of America.
It may be
Of
down to
America.
20. It may be down to 20%, says one source.
Okay, so that's what I was
Still a
expecting.
huge number.
I thought Christian Zionists made up about 25% of the population. That's what I was thinking. And okay, but this is not 8 years ago. A lot of those Christian Zionists are old. A lot of them are dying out. And it just, why can't he be nuanced on Israel? Why? Okay, you think he had to come out and say we're going to get rid of all the Jew haters? He had to say that? He had to?
No, he didn't. He didn't have to say that. Look, he's half a boomer. Also, he's not an anti-Semite, Vincent. I don't know what to tell you. He's never going to be your anti-Semite hero. He's all in with the Jews. He's
Yeah,
from New York.
I
He's a
know.
former real estater, and he's married off all his daughters to Jews. He's all in. He loves them. So what do you expect?
Yeah, no, well, but Well, read a room, and he's willing to die on the hill of Israel. All
He's
these
gonna
politicians.
win.
Are you sure?
I think he is. I think he's
Then
gonna win. Yeah.
why is everyone saying on social media not to vote for him? All the big influencers, why are they all disgusted with him?
Who? Like the alt
Okay,
right because
Nick
the alt-right-
Fuentes, Sneeko, Dr. Lupus is sick.
because they're obsessed with Jews. They're obsessed with Jews, and they're. I mean, they're obsessed with Jews. What can you say?
It's embarrassing
Well,
to be
people
so
should be.
obsessed with Jews.
Well, you should be a little bit obsessed with them because it does cause problems. So I'm not saying think about it all day and all night, but
I get
you
it.
know,
I get it. It's an American. It's definitely a question in America, but the bigger question is: aren't you going to elect the one guy who says, "I am going to mass deport every single illegal alien in the country," versus the person who is committed to opening the fucking border and flooding in as many people as possible? I mean, it's just a no-brainer.
well, but the Democratic Party is more likely to go anti-Israel than the Republican Party.
No.
Yeah, but at this like this critical juncture, even if everything to do with the JQ is correct, is that the right thing to do? I mean, just this idea that, I mean, as if Israel isn't being fully supported by America already under the Democratic Party right now, dude. What?
Yeah, I know.
mean,
All parties have to support Israel because of AIPAC, because of the process, every presidential candidate has to undergo. But why can't you give Trump some credit for having threatened the Jews? He basically said, after all I've fucking done for you lot, and if I still
yes, he does speak like that. You see, he
yeah,
doesn't understand.
you lot are to blame with all that implies. He threatened them, and this went all over, completely over Vincent's head. He didn't notice, or he heard something else.
He feels like they're very ungrateful to him, doesn't he? He said, if you vote for anybody other than me, you need your head examined. I don't know what's wrong with you.
and you will be to blame if I don't win. I mean, what could be more threatening than that? What do you think the people will do to you if you're still, not giving them what they want?
It's high time for the Jews just to join the white cause, really, isn't it? I mean, finally.
Well, they sort of do.
No, they don't.
It's
Not
you
enough.
didn't listen to that space that I linked you to. And
No, I
there were
didn't.
these Jews basically complaining about the Democrat Jews letting the side down and blah blah and what's going to happen.
Yeah, but
Well, I
that's a
thought it was
minority.
interesting.
That's a minority of Jews, and
Well,
I
they
mean, the
sounded
problem is
pretty
the
knowledgeable. They
the
sounded
problem
like
is
they
that
have top jobs in
liberal
NATO.
Jews who like fall away from the religion, join the religion of the immigrant. No, they fall away from Judaism, and then they fully imbibe this idea of the victim, the other, the immigrant, the oppressed. And so they then go about in their politics expressing this idea, like this one struggle, we must all protect the immigrant rights, the rights of the oppressed, the rights of the minority. And so that's the larger problem that's been the larger disruptive force in American politics. The non-religious.
Well, that's what my whole point was, that you know, these Jews are acting. They've left Judaism. What they're doing has nothing to do with Judaism. It has everything to do with communism or socialism or Marxism or
Yes.
whatever critical race theory. But none of that is Jewish.
No, it's all about it's basically a religion based upon fear of another shower, isn't it? They're terrified of, and so they identify with minority, with being a minority, being a under threat minority, and therefore that what they have to do is protect the rights and institutionalize the rights of minorities within the society so that they can never be taken away and they can never be threatened again. And what this means is effectively tearing down the structures of power that preference like one group over another, and they go so far that they have empowered minorities. This is the problem.
Well, same thing applies to the Muslims, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But
It's
at
just
least
that
the
Jews have
Muslims
been, it's just that Jews have a higher IQ and have been doing it longer in America.
well, I think the Muslims have kind of worked out like, well, we shouldn't vote at all. It only encourages them. And I must say, I'm kind of in my revolving door of, on the one hand saying, let's ban all political parties, but this one is important. So
I
one
have to
last
say
hurrah.
though, maybe I'm just like not smart enough to get it. Maybe I'm just like too low IQ, but I just don't get it when I just can't get it when people are telling me, like here in the UK, that I have to be obsessed about Jews, for instance. Maybe I'm just not clever enough to understand. But like you get people who hop on Spaces or whatever and tell me like SJJ, the biggest problem that you have is the Jews, and I'm like, is it? I mean, point it out to me. Show me how here in the UK my life is ruled by Jews. I mean, I'm willing to listen, but they're effectively like, I think there's 12 Jewish members of parliament. There's versus like 90 minority MPs and over 25 Muslim MPs. Is my life ruled by Jews here in this country? I just don't get it. Maybe I'm not smart enough. I don't know.
Well, it's a category error, isn't it? I mean, if you think about it, people kind of conflate ideas, sort of like, they go on about the liberal Jew, but actually they should just say liberalism is a problem. But, because they don't like Jews, they're going to blame Jews for causing problems, but it is liberalism that is actually the problem. But I guess if you're a Westerner, you think, well, liberalism is our religion, and I would rather blame the Jew than our current political orthodoxy. Maybe that's all it is.
Well,
The
I mean, I can
inability to
definitely
make
see
these
it.
distinctions.
I can definitely see that America and Israel are joined at the hip. I can definitely see that there's lots of influential Jews who've climbed to the tops of power in America. I can definitely see that there's definitely a big Jewish influence in America, Hollywood, New York, and finance, and all this kind of stuff. And there's lots of big influential Jews and APAC. There's definitely the case to be made there. But for me here in the UK, I look around at the institutions of power that I can see, and I don't buy this thing that there's like somebody behind the curtain that you can never like see pulling the strings. I think if you buy into that, you're powerless anyway, because you're ceding power to an invisible force. So we
Well,
have
I'm
to
saying
look
the
at who's
CIA controls us, and the CIA is Zionist. Because basically we have the same
here in the
social
UK
problems
though.
as America because we have the same social policies. I mean, can we not agree on that?
Well,
Immigration, feminism, aging and shrinking society, critical. It's the same because, okay, the West is a global empire, so it's not even a place, but a political expression of a global empire. And that is why Australians and New Zealanders and Canadians and the British and the EU have the same social problems because we've all been turned into economic zones filled with immigrants,
sure,
and
but
it's
for
making
different,
everybody unhappy,
but not
including the
necessarily for the
immigrants.
same reasons. Yes, okay, or I agree all those symptoms are present.
And my idea is basically, I'm not saying, dismantle the American empire, but I'm just saying, well, why don't you run your empire better, where everybody is a bit happier than they are now? And still, the white man can retain moral and political leadership, but only if he says, well, oops, we got it wrong. We hurt ourselves. We hurt others too. But now we're going to do this new thing. Everybody help and support us. And we're going to, that sort of stuff.
Shout out to Kumit in the chat. Where have you been, dude? I've missed you. Anyway.
What
Yeah,
do you call
look.
it? Who's Michelle?
I don't know. Mycroft. Is he talking to Mycroft? Maybe he doesn't have his glasses on. I don't know. Look. I mean, anyway, look. I don't know what to say about like Jews and stuff. I get it. I can see the issue in America.
No, I
Definitely
mean, the
tied
thing
up
is,
there
what
with
I find
Israel.
so frustrating with you, Stephen, is that the
Yes.
the divine narrative is so simple. Everybody understands it, even people who don't agree with it. So atheists already know what this divine narrative is. They're just saying, "Ooh, but he doesn't really exist," and then you can say, "But he does. Look, A, B, and C, and D, E, and F, and all these things can be done very, very succinctly and effectively, and they can't even deny it. They can't deny that we don't have an official moral system. They can't. They can't pretend that they're believing Christians or believing liberals. That it's. I actually had this conversation with
Who
somebody
doesn't
in
deny it?
nationalism.
Who doesn't deny it?
Okay, I'm trying to tell you that. Okay, I'm at this party. I met this woman, and I was going on I was saying, oh, but Christianity has failed, and she said, I don't care. I'm not Christian, and I said, oh, but liberalism has also failed. I don't care. I'm not liberal. This is the typical
Oh, there's no
attitude I
problem
get.
talking with women. Well, yeah, but Claire,
No,
you're
no,
like
but I
one
can
in a million
imagine a man
women.
saying that. In fact, men do say that too. So we have to think in a philosophical, theological, and abstract
But you're
way.
talking to a liberal right now.
No, she was
I'm
not.
him.
She was actually
No,
an
me.
anti-Semite, right? She
Me,
was an
I'm him.
anti-Semite.
Yes, but this is just. I mean, she's probably just a Q boomer or something. Q-tard. No.
Well, no, well, she's Q-tard. You QAnon, you mean? Well, she was actually
Yes.
English. But I'm saying this kind of attitude is typical. I don't care that
Who was
Christianity
it?
isn't
Who
working
was it?
because I'm not
Name
Christian.
and shame.
I'm not a conservative. I'm not a nationalist. I'm not a whatever. But
Yeah, well,
but
that's
what
me.
do
That's me. I'm not. I'm not. Okay. Yeah, I'm not
yeah, but
like.
you need something, and okay, you're saying, oh, we've never needed it. We've survived for so long without this official moral system that you're always going on about, Claire. I mean,
You're
that's how
not.
you think. I can read your
You're
mind.
apart from without extreme repression and taking over by force and well, I suppose you want to do it, but like whipping and chopping hands off and chopping heads off and this like beautiful vision that you have for the future, you're not
Well,
going to put
no,
the
obviously,
toothpaste
I
back into
have
the tube.
softened it for you people. But you want to believe the horror stories because you see, fundamentally, you worship your idol of Islamophobia because it gives you
Oh,
identity.
fuck
Means
off,
you have
Claire.
all your
Come on.
mates who agree with you, and you think
Get
we can
fucked.
huddle together and complain about Claire and the stupid secular Quranism. That's how you think fundamentally. Just admit
Fucking
it.
hell. I'm not even a good Islamophobe. I'm not a good racist. I come here and hang out with you more than anybody. Fucking
You
hell.
can't just
Get a
just to
grip.
produce content and complain and laugh about me.
This is producing content for me on your channel with nobody listening.
There are people important. I
are
like to
they?
think there may not be many people listening, but it would be. I'd be very offended
This
if
is community
MI5 or
service.
MI6 were not listening in
No.
from time to
This is
time.
community service. I got a court order to go and help the elderly. So look. Here's the thing: you're not putting the toothpaste back into the tube now because it requires
You
women
have heard
voting
of
themselves.
counter-revolutions, have you not?
I'm not a revolution. For the security services listening at GCHQ,
It'll be a
I'm
peaceful
not.
and legal revolution. It'll just mean a changing of mind. Like CBT. I'm talking about CBT.
Okay, so peaceful
cognitive
and
behavioral
legal.
therapy.
Peaceful and legal will mean women voting themselves back into the kitchen.
Marriage and motherhood. Yeah.
Yes, it's not going to happen.
I've got a social program to help you lot. I have a marriage bureau for
Doesn't matter.
unmarriageable men and women. Yeah. Yeah, there'll
don't-
be, I don't know,
Claire, we're
dancing lessons.
Claire, we're
and-
fucking incels. Well, not me personally, but I suppose I'm an incel in that I haven't got a long-term relationship. But
Dance halls,
that's-
secular coronist dance halls, secular coronist debating societies, matrimonial
No,
disputes
look,
tribunals,
we don't need more
marital
obstacles.
counselling.
We don't need more obstacles in the way of getting laid. We need less. Okay. Thank you very much.
Licensed brothels in red light districts. I just addressed all your issues, and you're still going to say no. You'll just find
No, it's not.
something
No,
else.
I used the wrong terminology. I said getting laid. It's not just about getting laid. Yes, that's the incel problem for the incels. Fortunately, I don't have that issue. I don't like to bark on about it because I'm sympathetic to real incels who. My problem is that I can't get a serious relationship.
Well, that's also that is a problem. Who cares about your sex life? As a government, you want your populace to, breed, and so they
I
should
agree with
support
you. I agree with you. We have the societal problem of female hypergamy due to dating apps and everything, and large
Ban
part
them.
of
I'm going to
men.
ban all these fucking dating apps. I'm going to ban them.
Yeah,
And the
well,
only one
I
allowed
do
would
think
be the government marriage bureau, who's going to match you with some local girl. And if neither of you are marriageable, you're going to be going to your remedial marriageability classes run by Khaled.
Oh,
No.
God. This sounds so horrible.
what a dystopian future. This is
Well, it's
Okay, it'll be somebody else,
Literally-
maybe me.
literally this could only ever happen at the barrel of a gun. Claire's vision. Claire's vision is tanks and soldiers on every street. Oh my God.
No, just marriageability classes where you meet the love of your life.
Claire, this would have to be enforced with. You always say that, okay, I keep telling you that nobody wants to do this, and you say, well, you have to make sure they don't break the rules. Well, that means an authoritarian form of government.
It'll
Like
be
you said,
fun. It'll be fun. It'll herald the a new age, brave
Oh
new
my
world
God.
of married parents and
Yeah,
legitimate
brave new
children
world, all right.
who are a credit to their parents. Come on, can't you get enthused about your impending
No.
fatherhood?
Absolutely not. If I have to go down to some government bureaucratic office and they put one hand in the filing cabinet and pull me out a wife. Oh my God.
Okay, I'll make sure that the government marriage bureaus are run by attractive women. How about that? Yeah, because obviously they get first dibs at the marriageable men of their area, right?
Yeah.
So then
Look,
they'll have to marry locally. Oh, come on,
My
it'll
vision-
work. It'll be fun. You can support it, yeah. I think you can.
Look,
And
as a
obviously
voluntary
they will
practice,
respect-
I'm happy for you to have government instituted marriage bureaus, but not state enforced marriages. I mean,
No, you don't have to marry if you don't want to, if no one is pleasing. But we just want to stay. We want people undertaking
Oh,
the
here's the
burden of
thing.
marriage to know that the government supports them and is trying to help them.
Here's the thing. It's only going to be the ugly, fattest women who go to such marriage bureaus because we have this problem that can't be fixed of now that in society women have their pick of men. They have their pick.
The rule is you can only choose once, okay? You can't monkey branch. That's the whole idea.
So
These rules have
it's
to
just
be
ins-
established.
it's just
People
insane
don't get
anyway.
it.
The it's just insane anyway. This is such like I don't know Chinese thinking. It's insane. Like if me who's like been through let's not talk about how many,
You
but
can be my
you know
poster boy.
no, but if for instance me who has been like I say we won't say how many, but through a number of options already, and none of them are suitable to a long term relationship. Then what is the chances of the one picked at random out of the filing cabinet are going to be, equally as bad, if not less?
No, because it will be that they'll all have a background check, right?
Well, you know what
Call that
college
a background check.
you know what college answer to that is that there's no such thing as the love of your life, but if you have the same values, everything will be fine. Just any woman with your values will work.
Well, anyone who has the same perspective as you, the
Okay,
same
yeah, but you know what?
outlook.
What if she's dumb? What if she's ugly? What if she's annoying? What if you don't like her voice? What if this? What if that? What if she screams? What if she's
Yeah.
dirty? What if she doesn't do this? What if she doesn't do that? What if she likes stupid TV shows that you hate? You hate her music. You hate the way she dresses.
Well, you know what the answer
lots-
to that is, Vincent. To the Muslim like Khaled, it's you give her a slap and put her in her place, and she's not allowed to do any of that. She has to listen to her man.
Yeah, I know, but then this is
That's
is
why-
what
that's
No,
why
it's
these
not going to
forced-
be done like that. It's not going to
No,
be
that,
done
yeah, but
like
that's
that.
why these arranged marriages work in Muslim circles, because the woman is terrified of the man, so she has no choices.
Look, when somebody wants an arranged marriage, they will have kind of lowered their expectations
Yeah,
significantly.
but if they're not terrified of their husband, they're terrified of their father, who's arranged the marriage for them. So it's like double trouble for these women.
Well, maybe people should, be a little afraid of the onerous burden of marriage, right? Men should be afraid as well. So they should
God.
choose carefully.
Why is your vision all about fear, repression?
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of bribing you. Everybody's been bribing you and lying to you.
What are you offering that's like that we'd
Well, I'm
volunteer
offering
for?
you legitimate children of your own race, and you're still turning your nose up at it. I think you're secretly gay for Richard Spencer. You just remember every now and then to sound sad. Ooh, I haven't got a wife. It's just a
That's the
laugh.
theory. You run with it. You're insane still. Somebody asked in the chat earlier, is Claire still insane? Yes is the answer, everybody. Okay.
You know what? How
You could have tuned in and it's 2017 and we're still having the same conversation.
No, it's slightly different. And how am I going to make it fun? I'm going to make drama documentaries of people who try out their, the government marriage bureaus and that kind of thing, and marriageability classes. It'll be put into a fun documentary
It's such
so people know
Chinese
the
thinking. You
Yeah,
think
and
like a ball.
they'll
You
get
think like an
paid.
insect. It's like an ant colony that you want to institute.
There's nothing. I'm just helping people, white people who find it hard to find a spouse. What's so colony about that? It's my social program for white people.
Because this is like obsessive. Like Chinese are obsessed with rules and obeying and following.
So
Like
were
this-
your ancestors obsessed by rules?
No, we weren't. The spirit of individual freedom is literally the English spirit. That's literally, if there's an ideology that is English, it is literally that.
I think liberalism just sort of kind of
Common
lied to
law
you people,
came.
saying, "Oh well, you're white and you enjoy freedom," and actually, other countries also enjoy freedom. But
It's
but
the
the, you
natural
know,
state of man. I mean, let's be honest. It's literally the natural state. You're born free, and then the government puts all these, like, you know, enforces you within all these rules. Comes quickly over and stamps on you, you know, like your certificate of birth. And I hate to get all like, I don't know, free man on the land, sovereign citizen bullshit. But there's some truth to this, that the government comes and like gives you a number, gives you a certificate, and then puts you in like this legalistic system of rules and regulations that you must abide by, and all this kind of stuff, and then we'll take away your freedom. But you're born free, so
we can only be.
or you
We
should be
have
born
free
free.
will. That's all the freedom we have. And apart from that, everything we do has a price. So in theory, I'm
No,
free
I
to
agree that
do all kinds of crazy things, but there will be a price to pay. Yeah.
I agree that that what is it? Liberties come through citizenship.
Liberties must be balanced by responsibilities.
Sure. Yeah. That's just like a rephrasing. Yeah. I agree with that. There's an exchange that goes on.
And so we should protect. Okay, the First Amendment is. Okay, I would say it's an American achievement because Europeans never had such a thing until the American Republic was founded. Um, is this your understanding of your history?
Sorry, I was yawning. I couldn't hear. What did you say?
The First Amendment is associated with America
Yes.
because the Europeans in that age did not
It
have
was
such a
Englishmen.
thing.
It was Englishmen who came up with it.
Yeah, because
It's a product of
they
the
just couldn't
Enlightenment,
wait
really,
to
wasn't it?
reject their monarchy.
Pretty
Because
much.
the whole system of monarchy required Europeans who lived under a monarch to follow the religion of their king. Right? This is maybe something a lot of Europeans don't understand or don't know. But I mean, that was why your wars of religion were so terrible. And now it's so sad that after so many people dying in the wars of the Reformation, that you don't even care about this very important stage of European political development.
Don't care about what stage of European political
Of
development.
the history of Christianity. So basically, once upon a time, that there was a Roman Empire, right? And then the Roman Empire became Christian in order to
Yes.
prevent it from decline and fall, and it declined and fell. But then after it declined and fell, there was still the Roman Catholic Church founded by Constantine the Great. And it was still the biggest idea around, and it still had the glamour of the eternal city that is Rome.
Yeah,
And
and it
so
worked for a
all the
thousand
barbarian
years.
kings who were just warlords, basically. They were just warlords. They were barbarian kings. They couldn't write, but they were good at fighting. And the Christian missionaries coming from Rome said,
Yes.
yeah, and then they thought, okay, we will
You're right about
become
this, that
Roman
it really
Catholics.
appealed to kings. Really appealed to kings when they heard this idea that, look, I am divinely granted my position by God Himself to rule over on earth. This is such a fucking great idea. I'm going to convert my people to it and give them this idea. Yeah.
Not that they were
100%.
asked, his poor people, but anyway, the Pope would support him, and that was the important thing. That was what the whole deal was all about, and nobody really understands it.
And it worked for pretty much like 1,000 years. But then we invented the
And
printing
until
press.
Henry had
It was
other
more like,
ideas.
sure, over here, yes. But also like the spread of information, people started getting wiser, more, people like, if you think about it, 80% of people couldn't read before, so they only knew what they were told. Once that
Indeed.
changed, the cat starts getting out of the bag. We're not stupid people. We're inquisitive. We want to know what have they been keeping from us. This is like the natural instinct. So we started going through very disruptive periods of time. The first one was the creation of the printing press. Still, though, people couldn't read very much, but at least more people could read to people. Because more books were going around. And then, of course, the Industrial Revolution, and now here we are in the most disruptive age of all, where we have the full immersion of everybody in information. So, of course, everything's gone off the rails most recently in like the last 20 years. We now have
Yes, and
Vincent, who can look up like, 10, 50-man gangbangs at 2 clicks on his phone.
Yeah.
but
So, of
okay,
course, this
so
has sent everybody crazy.
yeah, but you see, okay, and we who are not interested in gangbangs can immediately find people who share our views and interests just by Googling them online. I mean, or finding them on social media platforms. And that was how we found each other.
Yeah, but it's like you open, it's like everybody's been suddenly repressed, and then you open up. I know you'll have like 5 kittens in a box, and you open it up, they all come running out, all over the place. This is basically what's happened over the last 20 years with the internet. People have just gone crazy.
But it's also a dangerous substitution, because if we talk to strangers that we'll never meet, then we're not doing what we really should be doing, which is talking to real people in our lives and having these conversations with them. Because this is a good enough substitute for many
It's so
people,
hard to talk to people in real life. So hard.
particularly when they are your flesh and blood. Because we know how exasperating these people can be.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah.
hard. I mean, everybody just wants an easy life. I know I do. So who am I going to talk to? Like, who am I
Well,
going to
somebody
talk
you
to?
trust. I mean, obviously. It's like, well, haven't you men got some male person in your life that you can discuss these things with? And the answer seems to be a resounding no. We have no one that we can, not even our brothers or our father.
Well, it depends what stage in life you're at. If you're like at my stage in life, then effectively all your friends. I mean, I'm in a weird position because I'm transitioning from like what I used to do to what I do now. All my like older friends. Basically, what am I trying to say? At my stage in life, your friends are like marrying off, getting in relationships, or they're like drug addicts by now, or they've moved away. Some have gone to university. Others, so you just like generally have a few friends within your hobbies or your workplace.
Don't
And
you have
unless you're
clubs and places like that?
yeah, but I mean, in my like personal situation, I used to go to like a Mai Tai club, but like most, part of the problem with that is most people,
Don't you have a
no.
Masonic lodge that you could be, whose meetings you could be
Oh
going to?
God, did you see those Masonic? Don't you remember when we watched those Masonic videos together and how
Yes,
homosexual they were? I mean, with
yes,
the shirt off and everything, this young, handsome man being like
yeah,
groped and laid
yeah,
in boxes and and tied up, and it was like a
yes.
bondage
Stephen might
scene.
enjoy himself.
I thought it was a gay
Uh,
porn movie. That's what
yeah.
it looked like. It looked like the beginning of a gay porn, like S&M, 50 Shades of
Can you
Grey
imagine
kind
if
of.
I go to a Masonic lodge, what they're gonna do to me?
Well, you might enjoy
Oh,
yourself.
no. And like, how would I know if it's well, this is what you've got to do, young boy. Come and get your shirt off here and put on
I'm
this
sure they'll
blindfold.
they'll do it very, very gradually. Well, I mean, okay, I knew a few Masons, and they're quite nice people, really. You know. But okay, I'm just saying
think
that
Vincent
I
knows
think
something.
Masonry was what made America great. I was trying to say in the other space, it's like the only way to distinguish
Possibly.
between a man who goes to bars is a man who goes to his Masonic lodge after he has been married. And his wife won't mind. I mean, his wife would mind if he went to the bar or the tavern, but she'd be okay if he went to a Masonic meeting,
I
right?
think
I mean,
Vincent's onto
that was
something.
how I think it worked.
I think they are like secret gay clubs. I just think he's definitely on something. Now, when they started, I suspect that it was more about something like you were saying earlier about like rebelling from the religion. I can imagine that Masonry being a secret society and effectively it's like pantheistic, isn't it? Inside Masonry, you kind of like
No,
believe
you
that,
have to believe in a higher power.
yeah, the
So
grand architect of the universe, but this is like a pantheistic idea. It's like
I
that.
think it's about the Abrahamic God.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, there's this conspiracy that it's Luciferianism, that they worship Lucifer, but I think that's just like conspiracy.
No, no,
I
I mean,
think it's
if you think of the story of Moses, he came down with his tablets, and the tablets were carved by guess who, right? The Masons. And
yeah. Well, maybe I'm wrong, but
okay,
basically,
I
what
mean,
I'm
if you
suggesting is that
listen to the
Masonry was
Americans, if you listen
what
to
Masons do. It's heretical to Christianity. Effectively, this isn't it? It's effectively like heretical what they're doing in these lodges.
I don't know exactly what. But okay, I knew it. I mean, they just sort of learn their lines and they perform their thing and they get and they enjoy it like little boys dressing up and stuff. And I think basically that's it. Nothing more sinister. And obviously
Yes,
they
but
know
they're not
people.
reading the Bible in there.
No,
It's
they're
not what they.
learning their lines from the Masonic book or
Yeah, they're
whatever
learning
lines they have to
allegories
learn.
about Hermes Trismegistus and stuff like this fucking
They probably don't even
ancient.
know what it's about. They just enjoy the whole,
No,
I have to learn my lines thing.
yes, the lower ones down, but when you go up in Masonry, it's all about like these stories basically from ancient Egypt and Hermes Trismegistus, who was the god Thoth.
Hold on 1 second. I'm just trying to.
Oh, okay, but I'm okay. I do have a theory about the Masons, and I'm saying the whole idea is to keep the Abrahamic religions in a fraternity, the Jews, the Christians, and Muslims, and when it's safe for Jews and Muslims to tell Christians they're idolaters, then they come out and tell them, and then the Christians will repent, and then everybody will become Muslim. That's my theory.
You've got somebody in the chat, Mycroft Wins, saying, "Let me in your stupid chat. I sent a request weeks ago." So who's that?
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I did know
Why
that.
don't you put the link in and see if you can always
Yeah,
throw them
I
off
will.
if
I
they're.
will. Sorry about that, Mycroft. Weeks ago, the stream hasn't been going for weeks. So okay, that's my theory. And from what I know of the Masons that I knew, it's LARPing and dressing up, and boy, do people like to dress up. And you can see from children with their drink, oh, I'm a wizard, I'm Spider-Man, I'm Superman, I'm Batman, I'm a cowboy and a cop.
Oh, it's somebody that wants to get into your Telegram group that I think you have on invite only.
All right.
You have to check your requests for your Telegram group. There's nothing going on in there, Mycroft, apart from fucking secular
Well,
communism.
he's in it already, so I don't know what he's on about.
Retard
Anyway, I thought he
worker.
wanted to come on, so he can if he wants. But this is it. So I'm saying that was the purpose of Masonry, and obviously in America, the founding fathers, oh, they were Masons. It's like I bet the fact that they were Masons allowed them to organize so effectively against the British Crown. And then I just noticed the way people talked about Masons. It's like substitute Masons for Jews, and it's like, ooh, the kind of saying that the founding fathers
Yeah.
were Jewish or something.
There, so there's this theory within conspiracy circles that Masonry is like Judaism for the Goys, and so it's like it's all Judaized. I don't know how true it is, but because they have like it's Solomon's temple as an allegory, and the two pillars, and like Jacob's ladder, and all this imagery and stuff. So you get your schizos on the internet. They might be right, I don't know, who say that it's basically like a Judaized cult for the Goys. So like Jews running. It's another level of believing that Jews are running everything. They're even running the Masonry, which it traditionally was like this white club of men. But apparently, according to the internet schizos, it's secretly run by the Jews, like they believe everything is.
Well, a lot of people think that the Abrahamic God is the Jewish God. And this is actually something that the Muslims have tried very hard to disprove by saying Adam and Eve, they were Muslim, Jesus was Muslim, Moses was Muslim, Abraham was Muslim. So, it depends on, who you want to believe. But I mean, you could argue that the Noahide laws, they preceded Moses. But, the problem was that, because they were only
No, it's
oral.
nonsense. We both know that. Some rabbi came up with that in like 500 years ago. It's nonsense. We know this.
What is nonsense? Sorry. What's nonsense?
Some rabbi came up with the Noahide laws like 500 years ago. It's ridiculous.
Well, the quite good. Well,
Fair
the good
enough,
set of
yeah.
laws that people
Fair enough.
people
But the
think
idea that
they're
it's
fair enough, and it's
But the idea that it's Noah's laws, it's nonsense. For one, Noah didn't even exist. I mean, that's the most absurd story in the Bible. But two, it's just some rabbi's idea. Let's get the goyim to follow these rules, and they'll be like Jew-lite.
well, they kind of need to not be idolaters to worship correctly the Abrahamic God, which is why the most important, Noahide laws are the ones forbidding idolatry and blasphemy, which will be kind of not agreed to, because people are
The
attached
Jews
to their
just want a
idolatry.
monopoly on God. The Jews just want a monopoly on God.
Well, actually, they
And
don't.
so do the Christians. The Christians want a monopoly on God. Everybody. So do
Well,
the Muslims.
everybody wants to say their religion is the right way. I mean, obviously they want to say that, and it's like there is a way of working out which one has the best religion, and that is why I
Hold
keep
on.
going on about the theology,
Hold on.
theology
Kumit
being
in
the
the
last
chat.
frontier of political
Kumit in the
discourse.
chat wants to know whose boat did they find on top of Amelia. Look, if
Mount Ararat.
here's the thing, I don't wish to destroy anybody's I guess I honestly don't wish to destroy anybody's personally held beliefs. If you're a Christian and it works for you, that is great. If you're brown and you're a Muslim, carry on. I don't care. I'm not about that. I'm just honestly telling you, people that I struggle. I autistically struggle with the fact, the question, can you show me some evidence? I'll have a look at it. And then they say, well, think logically about fucking this cosmological argument or something. And my brain fries. And I'm like, no, don't you just have a piece of evidence for me that I can look at? And they go, yeah, but if you imagine that, and I'm like, it just doesn't work for my brain. So my brain can't get past the fact that there's no evidence.
Well,
that
God
God
isn't a
exists.
genie in a lamp. And you don't just rub him and then he appears before you and say, how can I grant your wishes? Because that's not the deal. The deal is that, can't you work out logically if there was a creation, there must have been a creator? that is a philosophical claim using deductive reasoning. And I think, I'm sure Vincent will confirm this, that Muslims are actually quite good at making belief in God logical. And I think there was somebody called Korkab who had a chat with
He
Vincent.
wanted to literally rape me. This is the problem with these Muslims.
Well, his manner leaves something to be,
Yes.
But yeah, I
I
mean,
rape you, mate, innit? I rape you. I'm like, "Oh, okay, Abdul.
I don't think he really does want it. I think he's married.
Well,
And maybe a lot of people just talk in a way they would ordinarily talk if you were in the same room with them.
yeah. Anyway, just to get back to Noah's story about, I mean, it's obviously absurd because, I mean, just like the idea that the entire, it's an allegory of some kind, isn't it? This idea, it's an allegory.
Yes, and I'm
Here's
trying
the
to tell you
problem.
what it's about. Thank you for reminding me. So
Okay.
if everybody's sort of hypnotized by, oh, the Jews, they got the Torah of God handed to Moses on Mount Sinai. And before that, there was Noahide laws, but everybody ignored it. Why did they ignore it? Because it wasn't written down. That was the reason. And then God thought, right, we'll wait for them to discover writing, and then kaboom, I'm going to, whack them on the head with divine scripture. And after he did that, the Muslims thought, oh, so these Jews think they've got some written message from God. Well, we'll have a better one.
Out of interest, how did Moses get the Right, because the story is, I need to find this out. Moses came down from the mountain with the tablets, didn't he?
Yeah.
Right. He sees the Jews all behaving like animals, degenerates.
Worshipping the golden calf.
And in a fit of rage, he smashes these tablets. I mean, what an absurd story. You've literally just been up to a mountain, encountered God. He's handed you some stone tablets, told you to go down to the bottom of the mountain, tell everybody about them. You get to the bottom of the mountain, and the first thing you do is go, "Arr! Smash. I'm angry." I mean, was Moses
And then
black?
he executed about 2,000 or 3,000 of them. That's the story. And then he went back up to get a new set.
But was he black? I mean, why did he have such a short temper? And how did he get the tablets back?
Well, he went back up on Mount Sinai and ordered another pair, I guess.
He got another copy.
Yeah. And I guess it was the Masons who immediately carved him a new lot, right?
What a story.
But it doesn't
mean, the
matter.
problem-
It doesn't matter about how absurd the story is.
But the problem becomes, right, here's the thing, at least with, like, Christians, you can interpret the Bible as allegory, and you're kind of allowed to do that. And we've come a long way where people can now, like, accept that much of the stories are allegories and read into them. And, like, maybe Noah's Ark wasn't necessarily Noah literally getting one of every animal on this boat, because that's literally impossible. So it's an allegory, and we can figure this out because it's not the literal word of God. But the problem with the Muslims is that they believe that their book is the literal word of Allah, and so none of it is ever interpretable. It's the
Yes, they do. They disagree with each other about the interpretation. For God's sake.
but not about whether it's literal, what he's saying.
Yeah, they will say it's a directly revealed word of God. Okay, yes. I mean, they have to say...
That's why Islam has never gone through... So this is why Islam has never gone through a reformation.
It doesn't need a reformation. It's these Muslims not following their own rules. That is their problem. They don't get it about the difference between monarchy and a republic. But okay, they sort of half know, because I don't know if you must have heard them go on about the four rightly guided caliphs of the Rashidun. Have you heard this expression?
Ugh, no, thankfully.
Well, anyway, they go on about the rightly guided caliphs, and the rightly guided caliphs were not monarchs. They were not kings. They didn't inherit from each other because they were related to each other. They were not related to each other, and they only became caliphs after consultation. So that is the key distinction. And then after that, the Abbasids, the Umayyads, and all of the Ottomans, they were basically monarchs, and that is a problem. And in the West, in Europe, there's obviously been a lot of bloodshed over whether Europeans want to live in a kingdom or in a republic,
Sure.
which apparently nobody has noticed, because that wasn't how your history was put to you. Well, there was the age of monarchy, and then the age
this
of
is just a natural outcome of the march of, I hate to use the word, but of progress. Okay, so like to some extent, I mean, conservatives say, "Oh my God, progress isn't this boulder that has to naturally roll all the way down the hill." But to some extent, it does. I mean, does anybody believe that Does anybody believe that we would still, right now, be under like a despotic ruler? No, we can see that to some extent there is some natural course of progress that is always going to unfold towards some common end, because we can look at
the
around
weak
the world.
interpretation of history. Have you heard of that book by H.M. Butterfield? You have?
Yes.
Great. Do you know anything about it?
No.
So Butterfield basically said that the historical process has been towards ever greater individual liberty, and ain't that a great thing?
Okay, well, I'd agree. I'd agree. Apart from a few blips, we can look across the world, everywhere, including Islamic societies. Apart from some blips, like in Iran, the Islamic Revolution. Apart from blips here and there, this has been the natural course of history. So, to some extent, it is true that the boulder of progress only goes one way down the hill. It's the natural course of it, of things.
Well, things can they can change direction, right? Because people also talk about
the barrel of a gun.
pendulum of history. So when the pendulum can go no further right or no further left, it will swing back down again, and the swing will be more extreme the further it has gone in one direction. So all these analogies of you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube is maybe mistaken. Maybe you
Apart
can.
from at the barrel of a
They're called
gun.
counter revolutions, reactions.
At the barrel of a gun.
Well,
At the barrel of a gun.
Well, we already know that the government has a monopoly on violence. Yeah, so they have the police, they have the army, they can make us do things. But if we ask them nicely, they might do things our way. If we put it to the ruling classes, that there's something in it for them, and it's so easy.
We don't want our rulers to be authoritarian, though.
Don't we want to respect our rulers instead of thinking you shouldn't be here?
No, we
Who
don't.
made you the boss anyway?
How many great rulers can you think of throughout history?
I really don't know. I mean, I can think of a few.
Well, there we go.
By Lord Palmerston. I mean,
And how many bad ones can you think of? You can just start naming them immediately, can't you? Stalin, Mao, fucking Hitler. I mean, the list goes on and on
It's
and
it's
on.
usually the revolutionaries who have, you know,
So
are more
what the
infamous.
pe- what everybody who is desperately like wanting some authoritarian to swoop in and fix everything, what they
Yeah,
don't
because they want
realize.
their daddy. They're all crying out for their daddy. An absolute monarch is the biggest daddy of all.
But
So we
when the
have to watch
boot,
ourselves.
yeah, but you're gonna end up with a dog shit authoritarian one. You're gonna end up with like Stalin, okay, who starves half the population because either deliberately or because
Well,
he
there was
fucks
a
up
famine in
through
China, so they
absolute
fucked up with their
power.
agricultural policy.
Yeah,
So we
because
should
Mao
watch it.
Mao decided to kill every what was it? He decided to kill every but that type of bird, a sparrow, wasn't it? Because he, for some reason, the absolute authoritarian rulers who can make crackpot decisions, fuck up, and
Yeah,
millions of people
we
die.
want a constitutional dictator, not an absolute dictator. And that is an important thing for us to know. We don't want just one king and then he becomes absolute monarch and then he can, be signing our death warrants and throwing us into dungeons. We want a constitutional dictator. And this
And
means
who
that,
decides the constitution?
well, common sense, hopefully. So okay, so choose the best ones that gives you the most rights. The one that supports the First Amendment.
It's not as simplistic
It
as
is as
this.
simple. You just don't want
No, it
to
isn't.
because
It
you
isn't.
think you know
Just
what I'm
look
going
at
to
it.
say. You're going to throw it out before we even
And
get
so
there.
use the Quran, but look at Saudi Arabia. That's like not a basket
Okay,
case at
thank you
all,
for
is it?
mentioning Saudi because Saudi is an absolute monarchy.
Yeah,
Saudi is an
fucking basket
absolute
case.
monarchy. Do you acknowledge that?
Yeah, they all sit on the floor on fucking towels, Claire, and
No, no, no. It's not about sitting on floors, but MBS is an absolute monarch.
they've not
It
even invented
means
the couch.
no, you're not understanding the definition of an absolute monarchy. I sort of think you do because I think you understood Henry VIII and how he can, that the king, an absolute monarch, is but above the law. He makes a law and he's not subject to it. That is
Right.
so. MBS is such a monarch. If you're an absolute monarch,
Okay.
you are literally above the law. And
Right.
obviously, you don't want that kind of absolute dictator ruling over you. You want a
No.
constitutional dictator. And even the Romans, in that times of national emergency, would actually elect their dictator. Did you know that?
So again, what you want is a Chinese Communist Party.
You know the Chinese Communist Party is based on Marxist
This is your,
Leninism.
this is your proposal, though. You're looking. You don't want to say it, but you literally want us to have Xi Jinping
No, I'm just saying the only
elected by.
rational way to stop all this voting nonsense is to have a one-party state. Yes, I am saying that.
Yes, you're saying Chinese Communist Party, please.
No, no, okay. I've been going on about George Washington, who warned Americans against forming political parties. And so he must have supported a one party state, but he didn't get round to saying this must be how it should be for future generations of America. But you can be a commie or a Nazi or a fascist and still support a uniparty, which is, I
Well,
guess,
I'm
the other
I'm none
name
of
for a
those
one party
things.
state.
I'm none of those things because I am not stupid. I'm not a larper, and I recognise that this is. There's some truth to the idea that of fucking Sargon's horseshoe theory, like National Socialism was just socialism, okay? That's what it was, and it is an oppressive force, and I'm not into it. I just don't want it. I fundamentally agree with, like, most freedoms to do what you want. I think that this generates the best state,
Okay,
within limits, of course.
so you still trust our ruling classes to keep making up the rules as they go along. That's what you're saying. You still trust them after all this moaning and groaning. You still trust them.
No, I don't think things are great. I think they can be changed. I think politics is incremental. We've ended up where we are through incrementalism. And if your theory is correct, the pendulum will, can gradually swing the other way, through this method too. For one, it's the only game in town, apart from by the barrel of a gun, which you say you're not interested in doing. Then all we have is
I'm
voting.
interested in putting the arguments to people prepared to listen. I'm just appalled at how
Either way, we have to
rare
vote to
these
change
people
it.
are.
Either way, a vote would have to. It would only be by voting that something
Yeah,
would change,
by referendum.
unless.
Yeah, it would be done
Yes.
by referendum after
Yes.
a media campaign, of course. When I make
And
game
so,
shows, sitcoms, and dramas, and competitions, and yeah, that's how I would make it fun.
advertisements on the television for ladies. Ladies, have you heard of Islam? You don't. Maybe you don't want to wear a miniskirt. Here's a black bin bag. It doesn't have to be a full black bin bag. You can have one with a large slit for the eyes, or just two round holes for the eyes. Have you ever tried? Just try it on for size.
No, I would go on about licensed brothels and red light districts. I would go on about marriage bureaus run by the secular Quranist government, and marital counselling, and matrimonial disputes tribunals, and matrimonial dispute appeals tribunals, and finally the divorce court. And you will be helped each step of the way.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Your views are abhorrent to 99% of the country. Well, maybe it's like 96% or something. Because we have like 5% Muslims. So
Yeah, I'll be
maybe it's like
banning all the
99%.
dating apps. Yeah, they're going to hate me so
No,
much.
but the Muslims don't like it either, Stephen. They don't like their religion being taken and, perverted like
True.
this.
But they'd see it as a
I'm
stepping stone.
their religion out. That's what I'm doing. I'm straightening their religion out on behalf of the white man.
The truth is, none of the Zuma Muslims would want anything that you're proposing. Like I say, they all have cast off their religion. Okay? They don't follow the rules. They just pretend to because they're terrified that their dad's going to beat them.
Yeah, I really want to talk to their dads and Islamic scholars and people like that.
Yeah. So, second generation and definitely third generation Muslims are just Muslims on paper. And
Yeah,
the
so
guys basically they're more misogynistic and want to I don't know, have a bitch who doesn't talk back or something, because this part of Islam is that women are second
well,
class citizens, so they still
the
have
Women's
this cultural
Institute
thing
will be
about them.
kept going so that
Yeah, but
women
all Islam
can.
really is a woman dominating cult. This is what it's all about. It's
No,
men
it
who
gives
are,
women more rights than coveter
oh yeah,
when Europeans
sure it does.
practiced it. Women couldn't even own
They
their own
treat women like
property
dog shit.
until
They
Victorian
treat
times. They couldn't
they
even
treat
own their own
women.
property.
They
So
don't
that's why you had the
believe.
suffragists, the middle class women who said we don't want the property that our fathers gave us to become our husbands, and then he can and can we have our own property? And then eventually they were given the right to own property, which is kind of a bit backward as far as
Whereas
Islam is
whereas
concerned.
somebody like me, or even Brutus, who's much more, far, I guess, far right than me, or whatever, because we're white, we can like intellectualize the idea that women voting is problematic, and it would be better if they didn't vote because of all these intellectual reasons. That women vote like are more likely to vote for the outsider. Like women can't go and I don't know, hit a lame rat that's wriggling around on the floor with a spade. They'll require their husband to do it. So this is like the reasons why they shouldn't vote, because they're always going to sympathise with the needy, the weak, the outsider, the immigrant. So we can intellectualise it and say it's not necessarily a good thing that women vote. It would be better if they didn't. But Muslims have like a fundamental belief that women are beneath them, that women are second class citizens, that they are less of a human being than them, and so they fundamentally don't see women as equal, and therefore they feel that it's
Men
their
don't.
right.
Men don't.
No,
Oh,
we
just
actually
stop
do.
making these generalizations. I've heard some pretty shitty talk by men about women. So obviously there will be some gentleman, Muslim or non-Muslim, but I'm talking about the rules. So the rules means that men
Of
will
course,
be able to
not
assume more
every Muslim.
responsibility
Of course, not every
if
Muslim.
they
Of
are married
course, not every
fathers.
white man. But in general, we're generalizing.
Yeah,
There
but
is this
I'm
fundamental
saying that
difference.
but men would have more control over their society. Doesn't matter about their race or their nation. If most men were married, and most men had their priorities, prior, yeah, their preferences preferred by their government, then it would suit the married men. Married men would have their preferences prioritized by the government, and this is the really important thing. And you want married parents to be privileged over non-parents, and this is
But it's a
what's so
tricky
shocking
subject.
about this? Do you
It's
think
a
you could
fucking
say
tricky
put this to your
subject.
mates?
This idea
You
of
can't even
parental
say
rights
this to your mates because they're all single, right? Can you
it's
have
not
some married
necessarily
friends?
the reason we've ended up in this position, like with parental rights and stuff, is because it's not as clear as you make it out to be. Just like giving the father all the rights like Muslims do, like because women are second class citizens, so it's up to the father what happens to the children, isn't always and most of the time isn't necessarily best for the children, Claire. So we've ended up in this
I'm not
position where,
saying that women will have no rights. Did I ever say that?
yeah, but I've actually looked online at one of these Muslim things where they use Sharia courts to decide what happens, like in family court disputes. So, and it is effectively whatever the man decides that court will agree upon.
Well, I've known Muslims who said their wife took them to the cleaners, say they went to Sharia court, and then they decided they didn't want to obey it, and then the husband found that they couldn't do anything against a wife who disobeyed, what some Sharia judge said. So,
Yes,
so they
but
get
that
screwed over for divorce,
yes,
and yeah,
that's true.
so it
But
does happen.
if both parties choose to agree, and it's called whatever it's called. Basically, you enter into a contract in these Sharia courts because they're not legally enforceable, but you agree to arbitration by them, and if you both
That's right.
choose to abide by it, they side in favour of the man, and it's not necessarily the best case.
Well, you're making okay. There's more than one Sharia court, right? And it depends on which Sharia court you go to, and you're going to say that they're all decided by the same judge in the same way. No, because
No, I
different
know there's
parts of
more
the
than
world.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's
So
loads.
so really that they even it would be it's like
But they give the
which
kids to
bloody
the man.
Sharia court should I go to get the judgment I want?
For one, they don't give a woman a divorce. For one. Okay. Two, then, even if they're going to do it, they then hand everything. Basically, they give everything to the man.
Okay, they have
Now, I
these
get.
Muslims have
Now, I.
such a thing as a marriage contract. You know that, don't you? It's called a nikah.
Yeah. Yes. Again, not
So
so.
making divorce a fault-based,
Yeah.
it makes it fault-based. So it's like, well, husband, I divorce you because you broke our marriage contract. You said you do this and you didn't do all these things, something like
But
that.
all he has to say is, "I didn't do it." She's lying.
Well, sometimes she might be, and other times she can prove that she isn't lying. Okay, you're basically assuming that no woman will ever get justice from a Sharia court. I'm sure that's not true, but okay,
In
I know.
most cases. Now, I also get that the opposite is the case in our system now. It's way, way
In your
more
family courts.
in our family courts, in our legal system, it's way more on the opposite side. And so women lord over men. If you end up going to a family court, the woman gets everything. But we've ended up in this position because it's not as simple as you make out. Like, the way that Islamic courts do it, just to like give to the man preferences to the man. You like say it's like the thing, give preferences to married fathers is the right thing to do in every single case because of society or something. But it's not necessarily the right thing for the children. And this is how we're going to do it.
Okay, what the Muslims do, that they have a kind of rule of thumb. It doesn't apply in all cases, but the general rule is that if there's a divorce and the children are young, the children stay with mum until they're 7, and after 7 they go to their dad. And this is actually horrible to many fathers and mothers, because obviously the mum is saying, well, what am I without my children? And the court will say, well, you can go and marry somebody else, without your children. Sorry that you can't, have them around you just to claim child benefit. Sorry, but that's how it works under Sharia. And probably the husband was thinking, I don't want to enjoy a bachelor life for, until my kids are 7, and then they all come to me, and what the hell am I supposed to do with them? So,
So a
so the
Muslim
idea
man,
is deliberately intended to discourage divorce, which is, how it should be.
anyway, I'm just saying it's not necessarily. It's you make it sound so simple.
I have to
We've ended up.
give you general rules of thumb so you understand how the system is going to work.
Yeah, and I'm saying it's not the best, not necessarily the best for
You're just going
society.
to object to it because, okay, I know you're saying, it's not going to happen. Everybody hates it, so I can just poo-poo everything she says. But I'm saying, what's your problem with proposing a solution? If you can agree on the problem, and I think we are agreed on the problem. It's white people
No,
not marrying, not staying together, not parenting their children properly, and causing a labour shortage, making the demand for immigrant labour irresistible. And that's still the problem, however much you poo-poo my idea.
I think we're just in a very disruptive period of society, and things will have to get better.
After they get
You're right.
worse, I guess we'll just keep waiting for them to get worse.
AI is going to save us all, so we don't have to worry. I'm
So
all in on AI. All in. I also believe that our governments are all in on AI. All the signs are showing it, particularly in America. They've even, they're just firing up nuclear plants to build to power the data centers to like push. We are now in an AI arms race. Our governments behind the scenes believe that AI is going to solve all our problems, and they are
when it
even.
breaks down,
What
we'll
do you
be
mean?
so fucked. Well, I don't know, when AI breaks down, when the internet breaks down, then we will be totally fucked, wouldn't we? We just wouldn't be able to answer a simple question without, you know, Google or
We can't
whatever.
can't even can't even conceive of what AI is. AI isn't like a chatbot that you can ask questions and it gives you an answer. AI isn't even conceivable. It's like being in 1920 and trying to imagine what we're doing right now on a computer with Wi-Fi, and we just can't even conceive of it. But we know we're nearing a breakthrough. Like once something becomes super intelligent and it's self-aware, then it will have the power to like replicate itself on to no end, and so we can't even imagine the possibilities. We're about to unlock the secrets of the universe, and it's only boomers like Mycroft Wins in the chat who says AI doesn't know shit, who thinks it's just like a really clever calculator.
Well, the
You
plug
haven't
can be
got a
pulled on
fucking
AI.
clue, bro. No,
The
it
plug
can't.
can be
No, and
pulled
it's
on
no.
AI.
We're
There
in an
will be
AI
a war.
race.
There
We're
will
in a
be a war
race,
of
Claire.
AIs, right? Because there's more than one kind of AI, isn't there? And who
Yeah.
is to tell? Okay, so we get them to have debates with each other, right? How are we going to decide which side won?
Now you're thinking that AI is just these online chatbot tools like ChatGPT. This is nothing like what
Yeah,
AI
okay, I know you're
truly
saying
is.
building nuclear plants and stuff, but why don't we just stick to the things that ordinary people can understand about what they can imagine AI doing, which is chatting to them and generating images for them and stuff. And maybe participating in a debate, and then the next question is, well, which AI won the debate? How are we going to decide which side won? Did Grok win against ChatGPT? Did ChatGPT win against what, Copilot, or whatever the other thing is called? How are we going to tell? So you can imagine, a liberal AI, feminist AI, Sharia AI. Who's going to decide which one won in any debate? We still haven't decided that yet.
AI is not a chatbot. Okay, these
Well,
are like
I've
just
seen this Peter Boghossian person
share my screen
do this
again,
debate thing.
please. Share my screen again, please. There's the meme. Okay, down on the left there. See, we have the bell curve of what people think AI is, which is so like really, really smart people think AI is Albert Einstein, somebody really smart, but actually, what fucking AI is this incredible thing that we can't even contemplate. That will be able to unlock the secrets of the universe, tell us how to do it, fix everything. Not just tell us, literally do. If all you have to do, Claire, here's a tip for you. All you have to do is survive the next 10 years, okay? And maybe you get to live forever, and then you'll have forever to try to convince the world to adopt secular Quranism. Just don't die in the next 10 years. Because we're about to unlock the secrets of aging and everything. That's your challenge should you choose to accept it, okay?
I'll try to stay alive, but the point is, you completely ignored my question about, okay, you get all these different AIs to have a debate with each other. How are we going to tell which one won? In fact, okay, forget AI. Just any ordinary debate. Can people actually objectively work out whether it was person A or person B who won the debate? Because I find with a lot of debates, people don't seem to know or have any clear-cut objective criteria for yeah.
That's because not everything is black and white. There's a lot of nuance. Not
Well,
everything has a straight answer.
I can make things black and white. And sometimes it's useful to have things in black and white.
Vincent, are you excited about AI?
Yes, of course I'm excited about AI.
Yeah, let's go, bro.
Of course I'm excited about AI. I mean, you can't stop it. I know that, they're going to use it to know everything about your life, but, it's like, so they already did that. The government already knew everything about us.
But like unlocking like this. So like conservative predictions are that like the last all the inventions that like we figured out in the 20th century, we're going to figure out in the next like 10 years. The equivalent of, because we're just going to set the fucking AI to, even like the proto AI before we like unlock the beast that is like self-aware and like goes, I now understand the universe, and can like replicate itself a billion times a second. And even before that, we can set like the proto AIs unlocking the secrets of biology, DNA, or, physics. Maybe we'll figure out how to fucking fly amongst the stars, everything. So, exciting. It'll figure out how to grow your babies in pods for you.
Yeah, no, well, I told Claire that
Might even figure out how to let you have a butt baby.
Claire, yeah, maybe. Claire, yeah, I told Claire that you sent me that information on getting eggs without women and finding ways to have
Yeah.
eggs without women and stuff like that. Yeah, I know there's lots of things. There's like
Vince,
lots of things that could come out. You know what I mean? Not that lots of things that
Vincent,
can
if you
come
could
out.
grow a vagina where your navel is, you get to keep your dick and balls, but you can just like take a pill and grow a vagina where your navel is to have a baby. Would you do it?
No,
No, not even just for 9 months.
no. How would I get rid of it when I was done with it? I'd get
Well, you take
fat.
another pill. You could take another pill then.
But I would get fat. I'd get worn out. My stomach would be all stretched out, and I would stretch marks. Nobody would want to fuck me. Like, no.
Well, somebody's got
No.
to do it. This is the challenge for women in the relationship.
Well, that's why women should support artificial wombs, because, they have the short end of the stick as usual. Like, you know what I mean? What are you gonna, it's the short end of the stick. It ruins your body. You gain weight and blah, 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 blah. It's not the most pleasant experience.
No.
Childbirth hurts. Lots of problems.
Yeah, this is why when I get my girlfriend stroke wife, I might just go straight for what's it called, IVF, and do two at once. Twins, two sets of twins rather than 4 babies at a time. She can have 2 cesareans, so she doesn't have to blow a fanny out. Anyway, I think this conversation's degenerated. I think we've probably come to the end, haven't we?
I
That's up to Claire.
suppose.
If Claire wants to end the...
Or you can carry on with Vincent. I kind of hate coming in and just like one-siding the convo.
That's okay. I can still talk to Vincent if he wants
All
to
right.
talk to me.
All right, you two do summarize what we've been talking about. See if Vincent has any improvements on what we've been talking about. All right, I'll see you later. Thanks for having me.
Okay, bye.
Oh, wait, what's going on here?
What is going on, Vincent?
Mycroft is Mycroft in it's the same Mycroft. Mycroft wins. Oh, he has the same. Yeah, it's the same person that's talking to me right now on space on what's it called on X.
Mhm.
Well, I'm trying to explain to him. He said more people would be gay if we didn't act so feminine, and that's very true.
Well, people would be gay if what?
More people would be gay if homosexuality were a masculinist cult.
Well, you have these clones, right? They're quite masculine, aren't they?
Some of them are,
Clones and
yes.
bears.
Yeah, some of them are quite masculine, and there is a hyper masculine cult within homosexuality. But no, it doesn't help if you dress in women's clothes or if you do dances in the street that look weak and stuff like that, and be against, be for gun control and all this stuff. It's gonna, that's not going to help. You need to be like more Spartan, scary, guns, black, not rainbows, like that kind of stuff.
Have you ever considered acting classes? Drama classes?
I took improv comedy classes once.
Did you how was that?
Oh, good. Okay. I didn't pursue it.
Because that would mean what, having a career in comedy and being a stand-up comedian, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't have worked out.
Well, yeah, I did a course like that too.
Well, at this point, anything might have worked out better. I really think I should have just become a porn star when I was younger. I probably would have been a lot happier.
No, because you're an intellectual. Vincent, stop having these shoulda, woulda, scenarios.
Well, no,
we were always meant to meet, Vincent.
Well, that's not very comforting. I would rather have.
Well, it's like your life was meant to turn out this way. And
that's
so
horrible. I'd rather have a good job that pays lots of money.
Well, it might get better if you do the right thing.
And I could have respect. I wanted to be a scientist. I would have been considered, the top of society and all this other kind of stuff. And I could have had my nice gay lifestyle. If I had money, I could, go on my vacation and have my.
Vincent, why are you so sure it's over? It's not over.
Well, I'm getting a little bit too old to have that nice, happy, gay lifestyle anymore. It's like, I'm entering the fall of my life, and it's like I'm exiting the summer of my life, and it didn't work out in the spring or in the summer, and now I'm entering the fall, and you know what I mean? I don't want to be some older, I don't want to be one of these
talents. Vincent, you do know that you have unique talents and interests which are specialized and possibly sought after in our time.
No, obviously everybody just tells me to shut up and to go away. Nobody wants to hear my message.
Well, because most people are not intellectuals and they can't do their, thought experiments. They can't think in the hypothetical. But you're able to make deductions based on undisputed information. I didn't really have any trouble, persuading you that Christianity is idolatry. I didn't have to, argue with you till I was blue in the face. You understood immediately.
Well, yes, because I studied Judaism a little bit, and before we met, I knew about the Noahide laws, and I knew that Christianity was considered idolatry, and I understand it.
But don't you see how forming certain conclusions from undisputed facts is key to solving problems?
Well,
Well, in theory, anyway, because you can have a solution and everybody might just dismiss your solution and then completely ignore you, but you'd still have the solution in theory. So I think your problem would be just getting the publicity you need to, take your other ideas forward. But I know you don't want to because, fundamentally, I think okay, maybe you don't believe that it would work, and maybe you're not so keen on, my ideas because, well, they're not your ideas. But I think, with any idea that there is this sort of, the saying that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one small step.
One small step.
Well, it's true, isn't it? You have to decide whether that you want to, go on this 1,000-mile journey. I guess you might, have to pick up a travel book or go to a travel agency or something of that nature to form the intention of, making that journey. And then before you form the intention, you have to weigh, the pros and cons. I mean, you are pretty unique, and
I'm unique, yes, but okay, it didn't. This is what I tell people. I followed my heart, but that didn't necessarily make me that happy.
well, you need to follow your mind and your heart. And what you want is success and recognition for the talents that you already possess. You don't want to have to go out and find your talent to promote. It's like, well, as you say, you're 40 and you should already have what you need to do to make your life a success. But for some of us, we need to take a few risks, and you're prepared to do that. I mean, you're quite good at the things you do. People know who you are, and they know who you are because you don't change your mind because things get hard.
No, I don't change my mind because things get hard, but I can get fed up. Didn't you told me Magellan gave up on white people?
Well, she's only young, and I wouldn't encourage her to blot her copybook, so to speak, and get herself into trouble over an ideology that I think is fundamentally not going to do the job, because it's so obvious. Race cannot be your religion, because you need more than somebody sharing the same color skin as me to get on with them. They have to share your outlook and agree with the rules that you want to live under. Otherwise, you can't live with them. I mean, it's my ideas are not complicated.
Did you ask Mycroft to make you your likeness to make a Hindu butterfly?
A Hindu butterfly? I don't know. I mean, I might have said, oh, wouldn't it be fun to have this image and that image and whatever.
Mycroft says she asked me to use her likeness to make a Hindu butterfly.
Well, I've never given him my likeness.
You can find it online.
Is it me? Okay, I'm just looking at a few of my pictures. Okay, maybe the nose is a bit me, but the rest of it is not.
Where? What butterfly are you looking at?
Well, he sent me a few photographs.
Where, on X?
On Telegram. Okay, I think he just wants me to show them, I guess. Okay, I need to download them and stuff, I guess. And then maybe I can... You see, I'm not going to use them because, I mean, they're quite nice, but I can't I can't do this. Oh, isn't that a nice, sexy picture of me looking, prim and proper and attractive and whatever? But what I could do is, well, I don't even know how to display it because I think that's probably what he wants me to do. He's saying,
Is it
oh
a
no.
butterfly? Is it a butterfly?
He hasn't sent me any butterfly pics, so I don't know what he's on about.
Well, he might just be joking. A lot of these right-wing people are not totally serious and don't mean what they say and don't say what they mean. And he did send me some odd video. He said hi, and then he sent me an odd video, and I said, "What's the point of that?" And he's like, "I just wanted to say hi," like, just sending me some random video that I just couldn't get the point of it. It was like a silly right-wing, silly head, silly Billy video. And I said, what's the point of this? It was a troll thing. And I'm just saying hi.
Yeah, but today I found a picture that I thought would really work well, which is it's a boring machine, a tunnel boring machine, and it looks really quite menacing. And it's because I have to bore through the hard rock of the Islamophobia in order to get to the other side. Because it's like, oh, have you considered changing secular Quranism to something that doesn't include the word Quran? And it's like, no, I can't. Because if I said, oh, clear cause, wonderful moral system for white people, they'd be even more they throw it out even more contemptuously. So they don't get it. I've already thought it through. And it's like, well, Vincent's trying to think of a more powerful God than the Abrahamic God, and he can't do it. And
Not more
that's why he's
powerful.
so depressed.
Not more powerful. I mean, I admit that in polytheism, the gods have to be limited.
Well, there you go. You are. Why would anybody? I've explained to you my theory of the Trinity, and why the Christians thought we have to make it blasphemy to deny the divinity of Jesus, or the Jews will be laughing at us forever, and that's what they did. And that is the history of Christianity. And I can't believe that I'm the only one who knows this. Do I have to write a book? Why can't somebody else write a book? It's your bloody history. I mean, this is what has happened. And so, if nobody will believe this narrative of Christianity unless they were being burnt at the stake if they didn't, then of course they're not going to believe in it. So that is really the problem, because even Western governments just don't have it in their heart anymore to burn heretics at the stake. So and then, but before they knew it, the American Revolution broke out, and then not long after that, the French Revolution broke out, and then the Russian Revolution, and then the Chinese Revolution. And then we have all this Marxism, and now Marxism has fallen by the wayside because nobody takes Marxism seriously anymore. So I don't know. I mean, it seems obvious what the next thing should be, and you would be so perfect.
Well, I'm running out of steam.
Okay, but all you have to do is, well, run out of steam for not for resisting acknowledging me as the Messiah substitute. And then your life will change, and you will be showered with success and glory.
Success and glory.
Yeah, but you have to take the plunge, because the Muslims will come to you, and your haters will hate you. But that's what you want. will say, how could you? You're gay. Don't you know that under secular coronism you'll be thrown off tall buildings? And shit like that. I know they'll come for you. And you can say, no, I trust Claire. She's not like that.
We can have gays for Sharia.
That would be fun, wouldn't it?
There's already gays for Sharia. There's already gay Muslims. Why can't you get a gay Muslim to do this?
Because they'd be too afraid. Look, everybody's a coward. You're the only halfway principled person that I've met. Everybody say, "Ooh, I wouldn't say that if I were you." And I'm really proud of you for not taking down the National Socialist space of yours. And it turns out you didn't need to.
Yeah, I didn't get banned.
Well, I don't know. I still think, even if you can have another account, can't you?
Yeah, I could start another account, though now I have over 1,000 followers.
Well, then recognize your brand. I mean, you're very distinctive, Well, you're instantly recognizable for your voice. I mean, you don't even respect the protocols of the medium. There's not even an avatar of you. It's just this purple circle, which is so gay.
I don't respect anything. I don't respect any decorum, any tradition, any institution. I don't, people call people like me iconoclasts, even though I'm obviously, as an idolater, not an iconoclast. I currently have an idol erected in my room, not that I'm worshiping it, but,
Well, you're just a subversive and a heretic to the current political orthodoxy. And of course, if you're proposing a different religion to what is currently the religion that everybody thinks they have, then of course you're going to be accused of iconoclasm. Iconoclasm. I can't even say the word now.
Iconoclasm.
Yes.
You would be called, they would call me an iconoclast, though that's a bad word, and you know what I mean? It's iconoclast is not a good word to use because it means something very specific, and that's why I tell you to be very specific when you call something idolatry. These are very specific terms. Iconoclast, is someone who doesn't believe in images and worship. It doesn't mean somebody who goes against the political establishment.
Well, actually, the three definitions of iconoclast: one who attacks and seeks to overthrow traditional or popular ideas or institutions; two, one who destroys sacred religious images; three, a breaker or destroyer of images or idols, a predetermined enemy of idol worship. Now, with three, I think that would apply to Abraham. Abraham was an iconoclast.
Yes, they were iconoclasts. No icons, iconoclasm. Yeah, just, even the Russian church and all that other kind of stuff, they took these things really far. Though, even some Jews say you shouldn't draw pictures of humans or animals or make statues of humans or animals. I know some Muslims believe the same thing.
Well, I don't think it would help because, we can actually own statues that we don't worship, right? And then we can actually not have any idols, but there would be something, stopping us from following our moral principles because we're being neurotic or we're in denial about something. So, I mean, there can be all kinds of, obstructions to us acting on the logic of our beliefs. And it's like, yes, a lot of people don't have the beliefs that they claim to have. They only pretend to be, to believe in whatever they say they believe in, to virtue signal and, to secure membership of a privileged group or something. And that is a problem. And it's like, yeah, and the Quran actually, I used to think it's a bit harsh, isn't it, saying hypocrites should go to hell. And I thought, they literally might as well be idolaters, because all these Jews and Christians saying, "Oh, we believe in God, we're so good," and they won't follow the logic of their beliefs. So that's how you know, really, and you can only know when you kind of force people into saying, "Oh yes, I'm a Christian," or whatever, because they feel they have to choose something, and then you hold them to it.
I know,
And
it was so disgusting. I was reading the psychological report on fucking people who promote conspiracy theories but actually don't believe in them. They just promote them because it's useful, or or they promote them because they wish they were true, or because it's convenient, or because it's popular. Like, it was talking about, just people who don't believe in the conspiracy theories that they're spreading. And I found that really disgusting.
me too. Fake
You
news.
know, why would you even do that? Why would you spread something you don't even think is real?
Yeah, this reminds me of a guy I know, and he goes on about the Mandela effect, and it's such a horrible, horrible narrative. Do you know what it is?
Yes, that history gets changed, and that, yeah, history gets changed and stuff
Changed and
like that.
distorted in a slightly, different way, and it just keeps being distorted in the repetition of it. And you think, but what about records and documents? That, oh, these get changed too, you know. And it's like, but why would you want to believe such a thing? Why? And there's no answer. It's like, oh, I just kind of like the idea. Um, oh yes, and then uh, there was another one. I mean, like, why would they want to believe in all these depressing things?
Well, some people actually do believe in these things. I'm not saying, but some people just do it purposely. Like, I was talking to AI about flat Earth, and I, was like, why the fuck? And AI was, she did say something that was relatively intelligent, and she said that sometimes these political pundits just, they use conspiracy theories just to demoralize people about the mainstream narrative. Like, even I remember George being like, George was like, "Oh, we're in such rebellion against the system that we even reject your science." You know what I mean? It's like, but it's purposeful. It's not like, okay, there's actually something wrong with the science. This doesn't make sense. Let's rebel against it. No, it's just, I reject all your science. He called geometry and astronomy a Freemason conspiracy, and all this other kind of stuff, and blah blah blah. And he rejects all the evidence. I think he calls himself a flat Earth agnostic, or a Earth shape agnostic. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he didn't say it, someone else said it. And he's trying. I said, well, we can predict where everything's going to be from time to time, from place to place. We always know, where the sun's going to rise, where it's going to set, where it's going to be in the sky, where the stars are going to be in the sky, where the moon is going to be, when the eclipses are coming, when the eclipses aren't coming, blah blah blah, when it's going to be a half eclipse. We know all these different kinds of things, when the tides will come in, when they won't come in, and basically he just wanted to ignore all that and call geometry and astronomy Freemason sciences. And
Who is? Do I know him?
George.
Oh, George, the British guy?
Yeah, George, the British
In
guy.
in Telegram, in the Cube.
Yes, in the cube. I haven't
Okay,
been in the.
yes, I haven't. Yeah, I left that group a long time ago, but yes, I do know him. Okay, well, he's getting a bit crazy, but actually, I'm thinking of this. I forget Beardman. I think. And
Yeah.
he's this Australian white nationalist who believes in flat Earth, and I was like, well, you already. It's like somebody with the bubonic plague saying he'd like a bit of leprosy to go with it. And I think I just don't understand. You already have one low status idea. Why would you want another low status idea to make yourself even more low status? I don't understand. Because obviously I'm working on the opposite premise. It's like find the most high status idea and promote it because it's
let's
high
a-
status.
let's ask AI, what evidence is there against flat Earth theory? Let's say with
Oh,
this.
uh, I think. Do you remember when Jen Shah was participating in all these debates on modern day debate, and then there was one episode of Week in Review when Duvid was telling her off for you're a graduate in physics and you lost the debate to this flat earther, but actually.
Okay, here, let me just read what she told me. She said, the existence of time zones which can only be explained by the rotation of a spherical Earth, the movement of celestial bodies such as the sun, moon, and stars which are consistent with spherical Earth, curvature of the Earth's horizon which can be observed from high altitudes such as from airplanes or mountaintops, the existence of the Earth's magnetic field which can only be generated by a rotating spherical planet.
Well, yes, it makes sense. I think that the operating reason why all these people come up with these conspiracy theories is to show how much they hate their government. It's to say to them, we know you've been lying to us. And you've been, and all the good stuff, well, those are lies. God is a lie. Jesus is a lie. Blah, blah, blah is a lie. Holocaust. And they
Yeah,
just go
I
down.
know. And like, oh God, I mean, they get really bad. I mean, I was talking to one of them and I said, well, what about solar eclipses? Isn't the moon getting in between the sun and the earth? And he said, he told me that that's NASA doing that with some kind of technology. And I said, well, what about before NASA in ancient times and solar eclipses were recorded? And he said, all these solar eclipses were recorded by Jews and it was a Jewish conspiracy.
You sort of, that's when you have to, yes, the shutters have to come down. But I often wondered why these people who blame Jews for everything. It's like it's such a low status belief. So if you could make your point without blaming Jews, why not make your point without blaming Jews? How about we try this? And it's like, no, 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 I want to blame the Jews. And you think, why are you being like that? And then you think, oh, it's a religious belief with you now. This is what it is. And that's why I guess, occasionally I'm treated like a heretic because I obviously don't believe. I reject what they call their lived experience. So lived experience is a word, right? Don't they use it in therapy quite a lot? How dare you question my lived experience?
Well, lived experience is a real thing. It is annoying when you've lived through something and then people deny your reality, right? Like, if you experience racism and then people tell you there's no such thing as racism or that it's not around anymore, but you've experienced it multiple times in your life, you don't want to hear that
Well,
racism
usually,
does.
I think okay. I think it most applies to women complaining about rape. That's what I think, and that's why women use that a lot. But I guess the man who denies raping her was, well, I thought you were enjoying it. I thought you wanted it. You know, what's all this rape stuff? And you know, I mean, I know a lot of cases where the woman was saying, I didn't want it, but I was too afraid to say no or push him away or whatever. And the man would say, well, she seemed to be enjoying this. She didn't push me away. And then sometimes they say, oh, but you were so afraid you might kill her. But obviously, two people were having a very different interpretation of events, right? I know, I guess there are men who complain about rape, but David Starkey said something about it, but I guess he was saying, yes, it does happen, even in the gay community, but with men and women, obviously there is a misunderstanding because, sometimes women who appear to have consented to sex might, have feelings of regret afterwards, and then they decide to accuse the man of rape. Like, well, I never would have had sex with him if I knew he was, whatever. There's quite an interesting case. I remember now, and it's to do with Israel. So apparently, a lot of Israeli women are seduced by Arabs with perfect Hebrew accents. So they speak Hebrew just like an Israeli Jew. And so they seduce a woman and they have sex, and then the woman, after realizing, would complain, like, I never would have had sex with him if I knew he was an Arab. And I think it has been decided in the woman's favor. But I mean, you can see how far it would be. I mean, a woman could take it like, well, I never would have had sex with him if I knew he wasn't going to send me a thank you message after the day after, you know. But I mean, the best you can do is, well, at the time, did it look like you were consenting? And if it did look like you were consenting, then no rape has taken place. But obviously, a woman to be told that what she calls rape was not in fact rape would be very offensive indeed, and contrary to her lived experience. But to avoid these sorts of incidents, the rules have to be made a lot clearer than they are now. I mean, what is ethical behavior in sex anyway? Do gay men talk about it? Do they ever say, I wish my casual sex partners would be more ethical?
What? Doing what about your sex partners?
Is there such a do gay men ever talk about ethical sex?
Well, there's, you don't want to sleep with someone's boyfriend. Yes, you don't want that. I mean, they talk about that. Obviously, that's a contentious issue, whether or not you should be doing that, of course. Married men, should you sleep with married men? Is another question. What else? Oh yeah, there's a big contingency in the gay community that'll shame you if you don't use condoms because then you can get HIV. Is it okay to purposely go out of your way to get HIV? Is that there's slut shaming in the gay community? Yeah, I've been slut
Why
shamed.
would anyone want to go out of their way to get HIV?
I don't know. You know what? Like, it's just okay. Well, that's really insane. But some people, if you're having sex without condoms, they will shame you because they say you can spread diseases and that's bad. And there's slut shaming. There are gay men out there who make fun of each other for being hoes. And, I get it. Sometimes I get slut shamed. I get kink shamed. There's certain things. Should you be having sex on drugs is another question. These are all questions that circulate around the gay community. And there's questions about ethical sex.
But I suppose at the end of the day that they're all just opinions, unless there is some kind of, moral leader in the gay community. And yes, this reminds me now of all Stephen's objections, and I'm saying we don't need to have elections, but we will be electing our representative. And I was thinking, obviously farmers, would have their representative, all the important groups would have representation, I guess, industry, business organizations, lawyers, and I would have thought that non-parents also deserve representation, and women and men, and so this would be how I would reorganize everything. So instead of having general elections, everybody in whatever group they're in, and we can all belong to more than one group, elect our representative who will represent our interests. Do you think that might work?
Moral leadership who will represent our interests?
Well, yeah. So I'm saying, married men should be represented, and bachelors would be represented. I suppose there would be a question mark for gaily married men, but non-parents, i.e. bachelors, would include gay men. But yeah, and obviously, I guess there would be a problem about being outwardly gay, but gay men could have representation under my proposed system, to protect their rights. I mean, obviously, not everybody will get married, and non-married, well, unmarried men would, also need their interests protected, I guess, in some way, as would, spinsters.
Oh, I don't know, Clara. I don't know anymore. I don't know what the answer is. I told you if they don't make artificial wounds, then you win. I don't know what else to do besides with everyone. I don't know. And it's all heterosexuals' fault because they cannot live in liberalism and reproduce at the same time. They don't know how to do it.
I guess, we just need rules, right? Even the most... well, they call it America. In the UK, it's called the Highway Code. So it's like driving. You need to read the signs. You need to know which side of the road to drive on, or you'll have an accident. You need to know the speed limit, and all kinds of shit. But then we might complain. But if one day all parking restrictions and speed limits and everything just were no longer against the law, then there would be terrible chaos. And I suppose these rules are, once upon a time, it was obvious why they had to be there, and now we can only very reluctantly, understand why they were there in the first place.
Claire, I might disappear by accident for a minute or two, but I'll be back.
All right.
So I'm going outside, and sometimes my phone glitches when I go
Okay.
outside.
Okay. I'll keep talking. About what was I saying?
Moral leadership. More. You know what you remind me of? That there was the Simpsons episode, and so there was the Simpsons episode, and there was a brothel in the town that was being operated, and Marge Simpson did not want this happening, so she's like, you know, first she goes there and she's like, this is my town. She's like, I've been here 36 years or whatever. And so the madam of the place is like,
Okay. Now, Vincent has dropped out, and we are all agog to hear the end of the story.
what?
I didn't. You were telling the story and about this brothel in Springfield, and Marge objecting to the opening of this brothel in Springfield, right?
Yes.
And then what happened? That's all I
Well,
heard.
okay. So she keeps trying to like come up with reasons about why the brothel shouldn't be there. You know, first of all, she's like, I've been a resident of this town for 36 years. I have a right. And so the brothel madam is like, I've been here 60 years. So then Marge is like, I've been here for 2 generations. And she's like, 4 generations. You know, so you know, Marge gets really pissed and she's like, get out of my town. And it doesn't work. So anyway, Marge makes a big deal out of this. And the whole town arrives at the brothel to basically find out what's going on. And, you know, the brothel woman and all the prostitutes put on this like grand show, and like it's a song and it's a show and it's really good and it's really catchy and all this other kind of stuff. So everyone is like, woo, cheering for the brothel and stuff. And Marge comes in and she's all like, wait, I have a song too. And you can't make your decision until you've heard both songs. And she's like, morals and ethics. And like, you know, it was just shitty. It was this like shitty song about morals and ethics, and nobody cared.
I'll try and find that episode.
Yeah, no, try to find that episode. There's, yeah, it's look for the episode with the brothel and the madam. It's a funny episode. I thought it was a funny episode, but you remind me of Marge, like, you know, with her song about morals and ethics. Meanwhile, the whorehouse had put out like, you know, a grand slam show and everything like that.
Well, in Germany, the legal. So I did make a study of them, and apparently, on certain days of the week, there's a pensioners discount for their services. I forget what day it was, but I had to laugh because, you know, in the UK, certain restaurants, you know, have a pensioners discount for, you know, restaurants, you know, lunchtime, you know, lunches. So I thought it was funny that they'd have pensioners discounts for brothels.
For pensioners?
Yes. I can find that for you.
Well, that's considerate, isn't it?
Well, yes. So you know, they run it like a business there, and I'm saying, well, you know, why not? And actually, there's hardly any stigma now because, you know, I guess so many teenage girls are, you know, make a lot of money on OnlyFans. And there's very little shame to these things, which is kind of, you know, I'm your private dancer. And you know, you just pay me and I'll dance for you and it's all for you or whatever. I'm just thinking of that Tina Turner song.
Oh God, sorry, there's wind blowing. I'll be in my house in a second. It's getting cold. It's starting to get cold in America.
Winter's coming. It's
Ugh.
quite, it's only 17, well, it's 17 Celsius, which is still pretty good.
Well, it doesn't get quite as cold in England. It doesn't get quite as cold. It doesn't get quite as hot either. Not quite as hot, not quite as cold. It's more has a, you know, you have that Gulf Stream that comes in and warms you in the winter, and then, you know, I don't know if you're more north than us. I think you're just right at the same level as we are, but for some reason our summers are hotter.
Yeah, we don't have crazy weather like you, and we don't have parts of the country called Tornado Alley.
Oh.
But we have hurricanes, and I think we also have tornadoes, and I don't actually know the difference between the two, except that a tornado is this twisty thing that looks really scary.
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me? Oh. I'll just wait for Vincent to come back. Well, yeah, welcome back, Vincent. Hello, Vincent.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. I think there's a lot of money in my idea of licensed brothels in red light districts.
I got thrown out of the American Fascist Party for saying we should use prostitution to raise money.
Why would they be so puritanical?
You're the one who wants to whip unmarried mothers, and you're calling them puritanical.
Well, okay, okay, I can justify this by saying, with marriage, the man knows it's going to be expensive, right? He knows he has to pay for a whole bunch of things before he even gets to have sex with his wife, and you know, as for prostitutes, the man has to agree a price before he enjoys her services. So that is, at least, is a clear contract. But you know, with fornication, you don't really know what you have to pay until it's too late, and that is really my point. And I'm saying it's a proper business transaction if you know the price up front before the transaction, and the transaction is, of course, sex. And that is the difference between, you know, hiring a prostitute and marrying a woman, because you know she's going to cost you an arm and a leg, but this, you know, woman you're having casual sex with, is she going to show up 3 months later saying that she's pregnant with your child and you're liable for paternity? You know, you don't know. And even if you pump and dump her, society will have to pay the cost of, you know, the fatherlessness of your illegitimate offspring. So somehow or other, the price is being paid by someone, if not by, you know, the parents themselves. And yeah, I think, you know, people need to be clearer about that. But yeah, I'm trying to make it simple. You know, it's like, yes, it is about sex. It is about marriage. It is about parenting and family and all the boring things that, you know, young people don't want to think about. But you know, if they were, you know, to choose to be a bit more mature about things, then they would have to accept that, you know, we're all here because our parents had sex with each other, and somehow or other brought us up. And I guess some of us feel obliged to pass this thing on to the next generation. And obviously, you're one of those people who do, feel a certain anxiety and concern, um, which is very commendable, I think, because not many people do think about the future. And you're in this sweet position of being able to go on about marriage and family values without having to do it yourself.
Yes, I told you I'm going to say all the homosexuals will have all the sexual liberation, and you heterosexuals either have to pay prostitutes, get married, and if you don't do it that way, it's the whip. And it will be a homosexual whipping you and laughing before he goes to the gay bar and has sex, in a private room.
Yeah, but it can't be called a gay bar. Maybe the Comrade Club or something.
Yeah, the Comrade Club, to go have sex in the back room. So that's what I'm going to tell them. They could be whipped by prostitute workers, someone who has both a job as a whipper and a prostitute. And, this unmarried mother can be whipped by a prostitute or homosexual. And I'm sure they'll all just love that.
Yes. Well, what a great idea. Yes.
Yeah. They're not going to go for that.
Oh, you look. We have to. All these things have to be said, 100,000 times before it registers with anybody. But I mean, the moment you say you're considering becoming secular coroners, and all these questions, and they'll be, just jumping on you to say, what about this? What about that? How are you going to do it? Tall buildings, thrown off them, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I see no reason why they shouldn't be performed by gay men who apply for it has to be done professionally. It can't be, you'd have to wear a mask, you'd have to wear a uniform, and it has to look like it's kind of proper and not just, a kinky, BDSM thing. Yeah. But yeah, it's just a principle for people to kind of think about it, and then eventually I think they'll like the idea, because all these ideas like okay, I'm thinking of a lottery for repentant unmarried parents.
Repentant, yes, they'll be. Well, you still get whipped.
Yeah, well, no, but okay, they're not, those who are already unmarried parents will not be getting whipped. But obviously, a year after secular Quranism comes into, is formally adopted, then yes, you will be subject to corporal punishment if you become an unmarried parent, if you, have offspring without a marriage license, and then yes, then you would be suffering corporal punishment, which I think is fair enough. Obviously, the idea is not to hurt people, but to just make the point that you're a sex offender if you basically have sex before marriage. But this will just, send a message very quickly to people about what's expected of them. So within the red light districts, that there will be, love hotels and bars and restaurants and theatre and, all the fun things.
I'm sorry, one more thing. What about restaurants and theaters?
Well, I don't know. When you go to town, you'd expect, all the fun things to be in one place, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be bars and restaurants and theaters and cinemas and, red light districts. It would be around the red light district and love hotels and, you know, and comrade clubs.
Yeah, they'll all be in. Well, also these whippings are going on in central shopping malls. Don't forget.
Yeah, it would have to be in a public place. So children would ask their parents, like, "Mummy, Daddy, why is that person being whipped?" And then the parents will say it's because they had children without a marriage license.
I want to see like some kind of chubby woman dressed in bondage gear, but she has one of those. You know how sometimes Muslim women, they just have the head covering part of it. You know what I mean? They just have the. I mean, you could put on, you could put on the niqab without the dress part, so your body is exposed in this raunchy black leather bondage gear, yet you're wearing a niqab over your face and hair. You know what I mean? They could be doing the whippings.
Well, no, they have to be properly dressed in sort of whipping uniform.
Well, can they walk around the street like that?
No.
Why not?
Yeah, I think there could be a documentary about how to do these things properly, and they can fly down to Aceh province in Sumatra in Indonesia, and then they can have a kind of holiday program about their training, because they do it properly there. I think how they do it is fair enough. It's professionally done. With sort of health and safety and on the stage and, different treatments for men and women and all the, nurses in case somebody faints or something like that. Yeah, there could be, travel documentaries for people who go to Aceh province in Indonesia. I wrote to the Indonesian embassy about this.
Yes, you did, and they rejected your
They
plea.
told me because they're so bloody controlled.
They responded to you.
Yeah, but I mean, they were supposed to put me in touch with a journalist to, explore the story further, and they never did. Or maybe, it just wasn't allowed. But at least I got a response from them. But yeah, I think, well, you did sort of have a good giggle about it. So I think it could be made fun. So, okay, about this lottery thing, I was saying that if you're a repentant unmarried parent, you would show your repentance by putting $1 in every month, okay, and then out of that, and then somebody would be chosen to be a winner, and then you get all the dollars that the other unmarried parents put into the pot, so to speak. Am I making sense?
You're winning a lottery for being a repentant unmarried parent.
Yes, but the unrepentant unmarried parents wouldn't get that lottery.
These are lots of zany ideas, I think.
Yes, they are zany, aren't they? I'm trying to make it fun. I'm trying to make secular Quranism fun.
Oh God, secular Quranism fun.
Yeah, and the A and B plus schools. I think that would be controversial. I think people would get more, hot under the collar. But that's the idea. And yeah, and the people, coming to remedial classes in marriageability, that could also be fun. And then there would be, I do dancing classes, and then we can have, for the more intellectual couples, we can, middle class people maybe, do debating societies, because that would be a good way of indoctrinating people with, the values of secular Quranism.
The values of secular Quranism,
Yes.
whoredom, whippings, gay
Indian-
comrade clubs, Sharia compliant sex shows.
all within the law.
Oh, within the law. Well, I don't see the point of a Sharia compliant sex show. If you're letting, that reminds me of, these Talmudic ways of getting around the law. Like, in Christianity, they are right about one thing, and that it's people follow the letter of the law without the letter of the law? What do they say?
But ignoring the spirit of the law.
Yeah, ignoring the spirit of the law. So Islam was not promoting sex compliant, Sharia compliant sex shows where you could have sex shows with 3 people looking. I mean, that's getting around. That's not what that was made for.
Well, I'm just being, creative.
Well, that's do you really think that that's what Allah intended?
Well, I don't know. I mean, he didn't actually forbid prostitution in either the Bible or the Quran. In
No,
fact,
he didn't.
yeah, because according to the book of Jeremiah, he was being quite cutting about the Jews and saying, you Jews, you're supposed to be the bride of God, but you're selling yourselves as prostitutes under the shady tree. But then he goes on to say, but I will take you back, even after your terrible behavior. So, yeah, that's what it says in Jeremiah.
Hold on, what is this person saying to me? We were talking about you. Mycroft says that he's a clairsexual, that he's into you.
Some people, some people, I guess they like the bossiness.
Well, but I don't like this lack of seriousness. You were the one that told me that quote, frivolity is a sign of decadence. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, they're hopelessly decadent, but I guess, we have to make a few jokes to, get popular or something.
Well, I don't see it that way. How often do I make jokes on these streams? I mean, maybe I'll say something funny every once in a blue moon, but you know what I mean? I'm generally very serious. My streams tend to be serious. And I don't do that. I asked him a serious question. Where do I start? I'm a clairsexual. This is just, rubbish, nonsense, lots of rubbish and nonsense. And yeah, I don't I don't know. There's a certain level, Gen Z humor. Actually, there was an article on it about how other generations are finding it hard to understand Gen Z humor because it's just nonsensical. You know what I mean? It's just like, just what's the words that they were using? But I've noticed it too, where it's just like, I don't even see what's funny about it. You know what I mean? Like, like there's a lack of like coherence there. You know what I
Well, I think
mean?
that the problem is that they weren't even taught how to punctuate and spell, and or even the rules of grammar, and that's why they're so hard to understand. But I remember my English teacher complaining about how we were writing because we weren't taught grammar properly.
None of this stuff is taught properly anymore. But when you look at these young people, it's just that they've degraded. And you know what? I fucking wish the Nazis were in America. They were serious. They were cogent. They were coherent. They were powerful. They had real life power. They met in real life places. They had real life leaders. That, you know what I mean? Like,
They got things done.
If you need an enemy, at least it's like, obviously I don't want Nazism in America. I'm a homosexual. I'm obviously not going to like that. But I could have more respect for that. I could have more respect for that than this.
We could become grammar Nazis. Maybe that would be fun.
No, I don't like that either.
You don't like being a grammar Nazi. I sort of want to be. Because, okay, I remember something about, Victorian. So Victorians were saying, okay, maybe I got it wrong, but apparently one Victorian writer was saying that they pulled rank on each other by showing that their grammar was better than the other person's.
Who did this?
Victorians.
Yeah, no, I know. Some people still do that. I noticed that leftists do that a lot. They make fun of you, like if you mispronounce something or you misspell something. It's like they make a deal out of it, because they're supposed to be so, properly educated, and leftism is associated with university degree and, especially higher end university, whereas conservatism is viewed as being less educated, less college education, less master's degrees, less PhDs, these different kinds of things. And I find leftists in a lot of ways are very classist in ways that they don't recognize. But they only correct white people's speech. I've noticed they don't correct anyone else's speech. Like if other races are mispronouncing words, they don't correct them. You know what I mean? But if you're white, they'll correct you and make fun of you.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, I might have been guilty of doing that because, because I can't stand it. And yeah, I know people who've done that to me, and I guess, I've learned a few things, so I don't make that mistake myself. But yeah, I think people are wasting so much time. They post their nonsense, and you think, what the hell is this? What are you on about? When if they had learned grammar properly, they would express themselves with more economy and effectiveness. And I mean, okay, there's just so many things that need to be changed. Just entire educational systems need to be changed. And I'm afraid young people just don't have the emotional and intellectual equipment to deal with a whole bunch of stuff now. So, and the most important thing is our ability to express ourselves, because I mean the reason why we're here is because we just want to tell somebody what's on our minds again and again and again, and maybe win a few arguments, So obviously it has therapeutic value, and we feel better when we are able to express ourselves. We feel even better if the other person is taking our point, and maybe not so happy if they disagree with us, but at least they understood what we were saying. But if you're so uneducated you can't even make yourself be understood, then I guess you're going to be even more frustrated. And I think a lot of violence is caused by not knowing what to say and feeling so angry you really have to lash out. So I think a lot of violence would be kind of avoided if people knew how to express themselves a bit better.
Yeah, well, a lot of it, yeah, would be, but but also people, it's like a lot of people are express themselves poorly because of their ideology. A lot of these Christians come off sounding schizophrenic and retarded. You know what I mean?
They just quote verses at you and they're not even relevant. It's like, how does it even support your point? And they can't even, because I know how Christians do it. They just quote everything in the book of Matthew or something, and they think they're one, which drives me crazy. Because they don't even make sense, and you're obviously not going to, argue with them. I had a few discussions with Christians today, and I think I won the Trinity one because I explained why the Trinity had to be the Trinity, and then I was actually quite pleased when he just left. He didn't even stay and argue after. So I didn't realize I was talking to myself until a few minutes later. Okay, I just mention it because he's sort of one of the more educated ones, who I'm pretty confident, understood the significance of it. But yeah, Vincent, you're talking to somebody who solved the mystery of the Trinity. And I think that will advance the narrative that we have to find a different religion, a different moral system. And I think secular Quranism will accommodate, us degenerates, right? Because really, that's our message. It is helpful that we are not, Mr. and Mrs. Prim and proper, because then everybody will run out of the room.
Yeah, nobody wants prim and proper anymore. We're in the opposite phase of that. I mean, that's why Trump kind of got where he got, because he wasn't prim and proper. And though, yeah, he didn't get there because he's not prim and proper. Though he's become more prim and proper. He's become a politician. I just saw this thing. He's calling what he's doing now the weave. Meaning, this is him weaving in and out of politics, trying to have a silver tongue and speak to all people and say things without saying it. And it's not the same campaign. And there's just no energy in it. I don't see anyone rah, except for these fucking old, they're either old or chubby or uneducated or ugly or whatever, these losers that are like his cheerleaders out there. You can just tell it's like low class, low end, all the smart, young, fit, attractive, aware.
I'm voting for Kamala. Come on.
No, they're not out cheerleading for Trump. I don't, whenever I find
But the media is not reporting it. And I think you're being a bit rude about your husband.
about who?
About your husband. Who's a Trump supporter, right? You were telling us earlier that he's driving you to the polling station, so you better vote for Trump, which he supports.
Well, and if he wasn't driving me, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't vote.
Yeah, but your father's voting Trump, isn't he?
No, he's not. My father's not voting Trump.
What about your mother?
My mother's Jehovah's Witness. She doesn't vote.
Oh, are they not supposed to vote at all?
No, Jehovah's Witnesses are not allowed to vote.
Oh.
You didn't know that?
Well, okay. I guess now that you mention it, but Muslims say the same thing too. It's like, oh, they're so horrible, but it's better not to vote. It only encourages them.
Well, they're all voting for Kamala here.
Oh, you never met those Republicans in the end, did you?
No, I didn't. No, I tried to, but then I couldn't.
Mm.
Not that they would fucking listen to me, Claire. It's just, these are like fuddy-duddies. That's what, okay. Whenever I look at a Trump crowd, it's a bunch of fuddy-duddies. Just like, hum-de-dur-dur-dur, I love Trump. You know what I mean? Look at what's on Twitter. I
see
hate
young people at his rallies.
Oh, please.
I do see people.
All the young, smart people are disgusted with him.
Okay, I mean, we are obviously taking our information from different views, I guess. I just don't see what choice you have.
Well, you know what? You shouldn't make yourself so repulsive that people would rather eat dog shit than vote for you. You shouldn't do that either. That it's I'm incensed that I have to go. I'm telling you that. I mean, I have half a mind to just fake and tell my husband I voted when I really didn't. I have half a mind to do that.
So you're most angry with Trump for not being anti-Israel?
Not being nuanced on Israel. You don't need to say we're going to get rid of all the Jew haters. You don't need to go totally in the other direction. Why can't you say, you know what, both sides have a point. I kind of understand the bombing in Palestine needs to stop. I understand that Israel was attacked, but you can't go too far. Why can't you be nuanced? Why do you need to be praying at Rabbi Schneerson's grave, who's the most unpopular rabbi amongst Gentiles? He's the most famous rabbi amongst Gentiles for being anti-Gentile and a Gentile hater. You don't need to go pray at his grave. You don't need to go do that. He's bending over backwards to alienate anyone who has any problem with Judaism in America.
Okay, but he has to somehow claim some kind of serious desire to change the law, and religion is the biggest thing that he can do, I guess.
Well, he doesn't need to take these things this far. He doesn't need to be a cheerleader for the Jews. He doesn't need to be a cheerleader for Israel. He can be neutral on it. He can take a more nuanced stand. Look, maybe 50% of Jewry are anti-Zionist Jews. It's not like he's even, what Jews are you trying to get on your side? Like, how many Jews are actually Zionists in America?
Maybe he has, he's just getting ready to blame the Jews if he doesn't win. Ha ha ha.
Well,
he hasn't actually done anything with the Muslims. I'm just looking for, anything he might have said about Muslims, and I am not getting yeah, the last thing is 2017. So he hasn't done anything with the Muslims, and the Muslims haven't been saying, "Hey, Mr. Trump, what's your policy in the Middle East?" So I guess they're not even engaging with each other at all. So I guess the only group he can pander to are the Jews and the Christians. Has he been doing anything with the Christians? I guess all he has to do is appear to pray, and that
Oh,
might
who
be it.
knows? He's more into Jews than he's into anyone else. Well, okay, he hasn't made overtures to Muslims. How many overtures has he made to white people? Not a single fucking one. Jews, you can fucking, you know what? The more I talk about him, the less I want to vote for him. The less I want to vote for him. I don't want to vote for someone like that. I don't, it's like, you know what I mean? It's the next he's going to lick some Zionist Jew's ass on stage, and you're going to tell us that we have to just vote for him.
For fear of something worse.
Well, at this point, is it worse? I mean, I don't know. First of all, he's not going to deport a single illegal. Did he even do it in his first term? He never built the wall. He could have built that wall
He
as
built
the
some
no.
miles of wall, didn't he?
He had the opportunity as the leader of the military. He could have gotten the Marine Corps to go down there and build a wall. Instead, he put on such a show. He let Congress stop him. He purposely allowed Congress to stop him. There was no reason for Congress to get in his way. He decided to go through Congress when he could have done it with the Army Corps of Engineers. He could have done it with the Army Corps of Engineers. Instead, he decided to stall the whole project by going to fucking Democrats and asking for their permission. Okay, he doesn't want to build a fucking wall. When's the last time he talked about that wall? That wall is never coming.
Well, I think somebody said that with or without the wall, they're going to come anyway.
Well,
I don't know how true that is, because it's like, well, they can arrive by plane. They don't need, the plane will fly over the wall. And it seems they have. They can arrive by sea, and it's like, oh, it's only symbolic. I don't know, but okay, however terrible
Israel has a wall that works. Walls work.
Yeah, but the kind of wall in Israel is sort of, of a different scale altogether.
Well, you could build a wall with the Army Corps of Engineers. He didn't feel like building the fucking wall. And, the thing is, he ran as the anti-deep state candidate. First of all, Trump abandons anyone who has helped him. Anyone who stands up for him is abandoned, and then he takes in Mitt Romney and this one and that one and never Trumpers and J.D. Vance, who was a never Trumper, and forget all the people that were loyal to you and helped you get there. Steve Bannon, Kellyanne Conway, or I don't know if she left on her own, but all these other names, that were his cheerleaders and developed his 2016 thing. He just dumped them. He dumped them for the establishment.
Well, I guess he felt he had to.
He didn't have to do any of this. Who the fuck needs Mitt Romney? Why are you going to dinner with Mitt Romney?
Oh, is he going to dinner with?
No, he did it. He did it when he won the 2016 election. First thing he did was go eat with Mitt Romney.
Because he was a previous president. No. When did Mitt Romney run for president?
I can't remember, but he did run for president. But the point is that so the second you get elected, you dump Steve Bannon and get in bed with Mitt Romney, who was the most virulent anti-Trumper. You just dump your base and get in bed with the deep state. That's all he did. He is the
Well,
deep
I
state.
know he made a few mistakes, but okay, I'm just speaking from somebody who lives in Europe, and we really have such crap politicians that as much as you complain about Trump, to us he seems like, oh, if only we would have somebody like him. Okay, even if he doesn't do it, at least he will say it, and that's something. It counts for something, being prepared to say, what you hope to do. So I guess Europeans just think you're being spoiled, because you're so lucky actually even having somebody prepared to express your concerns. Well, there's just nobody in Europe, nobody. But Viktor Orban in Hungary, he's not going to last that long. And all we have in the UK are neocons. You can't be, you can't get into the important offices of state if you're not a neocon. You can't be Chancellor of the Exchequer. You can't be Home Secretary. You can't be Foreign Secretary. You can't be Defense Secretary unless you toe the line. So you can't be saying, oh, I don't think NATO is a good idea, or the EU, let's leave. Not allowed to say that. If you do say that, well, you'll be treated as a heretic, which is basically what happened to Jeremy Corbyn.
Ugh.
Yeah, and yes, and he's not very bright. I know they're all a bit, the principled ones are stupid and common. The well-spoken ones are cunning and unprincipled.
Well,
Sadly.
you have to have. You know what? My father told me, and it's true. Look, we were talking about if you have a business.
Well, he did say things about, not paying taxes, not making waitresses pay for
No,
not
look,
taxes,
but it is true. When you open a business, you need to have the full package. You cannot put the business in a bad area and then blame everyone or blame other people for your business not taking off. You can't stock your business with shitty shit. Even if you're in a good district, you can't stock your store with shitty shit and then expect to get somewhere. You can't not air condition your store and then expect it to be full of people. You can't do these things. If you want to be successful, my father said, and it's true, you need the full package. You need the store in the right location. You need the right goods. It needs to be attractive. It needs to be clean. It needs to be air conditioner. The fridges need to work. The sodas need to be cold. All these things need to add up for you to be successful. And, Trump is not doing any of that. He's setting up his camp in the shittiest part of town, offering cheap, shitty, chintzy wares. The shop is filthy. And, it's just everyone's saying, go shop there. Maybe people would rather nothing. Maybe what if people are just saying, oh, well, it's just better. That's what the accelerationists say. It's just better for Kamala Harris to win so that the collapse happens faster so that we can win. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. I remember in when Obama was running for the second time, and I forget who he was running against the second time. I wanted Obama to win for two reasons. First of all,
McCain.
It was the second time around. It was with Cain. No, Cain was the first.
Yes.
No, John McCain was the first time around.
Oh, I thought it was against Bush. Oh, okay. Maybe I got it wrong. Yeah.
No, well, anyway, I wanted Obama to win because Obama was spreading problems in the country. And I said, well, people will wake up. I said, if so-and-so wins, who I forget was the Republican candidate, I said, everyone's just going to go back
to
Mitt Romney. I said everyone will just go back to sleep. Everyone will just go back to sleep. Nobody, they'll just say, oh God, we have a conservative in power. We don't need to worry anymore. And everyone would just go back to bed because Obama was waking people up.
Yeah, but you see, it's like, oh, first Black American president, first Black female American president. Well, I think it's going to be terrible for you white guys, but just go vote for him then, I guess. I mean, things got rapidly very bad for you guys when Obama took over. And now you're thinking, oh, it'll just be okay if we let Kamala get in. I mean, she's not even sober. She's not even, she has no policies. That's why she can't answer basic questions. She's going to be a puppet of the deep state.
Well, is Trump going to be much better? Isn't he just going to be a
Well,
puppet
we
of his?
hope, but yes, because I think at least he's
Okay, well,
genuine.
doesn't Trump want war with Iran?
Okay, even if he's saying these things, he'll still be not as bad as Kamala. Okay, that's my feeling. I may be wrong.
I don't think he's going to win. I think he's pissed off too many people. And I don't think anyone on the left is not voting for her. I don't see leftists online being like, fuck Kamala, I'm not voting for her. I see every other right-wing person saying, don't vote. Bear German's not voting for him. Nick Fuentes, Sneeko, Stu Peters, I don't know if he's voting for him or not, but at least says this is all political theater and nonsense and that the assassinations are fake and maybe Trump has part of it. Like every other right-wing commentator is anti-Trump. I don't see any leftists out there pumping anti-Kamala Harris material.
So what do you think is the real difference between the older generation who are, I guess, like me, saying, well, beggars can't be choosers. It's not like you have a better candidate than Trump. So I guess you'll just have to hope for the best. And young people are saying, what, how are they thinking? That they're thinking because Trump is not perfect, we're just not going to bother because we don't care that Kamala might win.
I don't think anyone gives a shit anymore because you have to you know what? It's like sometimes your father can make you hate him so much you just run away from home. Like sometimes you just can't take it anymore and you'd rather be in the streets than be at home. Like that happens sometimes. Like some people would rather be in the streets than deal with their parents. And Trump has done that. He's become an unbearable parent that nobody wants, that everyone hates, that nobody respects.
Because everybody is an anti-Semite and they can't bear him suck up to Jews. That seems to be the most. That's a problem, isn't it?
He doesn't need to suck up to them. He doesn't need to be anti-Israel, but he doesn't need to be the Israel candidate. He doesn't need to be the Israel candidate. He doesn't need to be the Zionist torchbearer. He's like Zionism, rah, 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 rah. He doesn't need to do that. Yet he's doing it and he wants to die on that hill.
How do you know he doesn't need to do it? Maybe he's being threatened.
Oh, God. Well, if he loses this election, we all know why. And maybe
people like you.
Maybe
should be voting, but
maybe it'll be a warning to other candidates that if you're overly pro-Israel, that you're not going to get elected. Maybe this is the last Christian Zionist movement in America. They're dying out. They're fucking old as fuck. They're going into the grave. And have you met a 20-year-old Christian Zionist? When's the last time you came across a young Christian Zionist?
Well, I haven't seen any, but then I'm not scarring the media for them.
Okay, well, I never see them. They never. I follow pro-Zionist accounts, anti-Zionist accounts. The only people I see jumping up and down for Israel who aren't under the age of 60 are Jews. You know what I mean? I don't think I've ever met a 20-year-old Christian Zionist in my life, ever. I've never met one. And I interact with lots of people, or at least I see lots of people, unless they're a fucking Hindu, but they don't, they're, they're not in America, most of them, and the ones that are in America, you know, they'll never get it. They are, because they have no other friends. Then where else are the Hindus going to go? Muslims hate them, Christians hate them, Buddhists hate them, you know, everyone hates them, China hates them, Russia hates them, Russians hate them, Orthodox hate them. Who else do they have except for these Jews to just use and dump them? They're just there to be used and dumped. They want to be used. They want to be used.
Well, it's nice to feel useful. I guess I'll go and look for some Christian Zionists on Twitter.
Yeah, try to find a young one. How many young Christian Zionists are you going to meet? Who are you going to name? Charlie Kirk? Turning Points USA? Who the fuck listens to them? Who the fuck listens to Turning Points USA except for 50-year-olds?
I haven't even heard of them.
Yeah, you haven't even heard of them because they're not that famous because no young people listen to them.
Keith Woods is apparently, Keith Woods actually asked, tweeted about Christian Zionism. What is Christian Zionism? Christian Zionists believe that the Jewish people have a biblically mandated right to a homeland in Palestine and that Christians should be active in advancing this. That this belief is rooted in a traditional heresy known as dispensationalism, which I can't remember. Can you remember what dispensationalism is?
Yeah, it's just that God reveals his plan in different eras in different ways, and that the traditional understanding up until the 1800s or 1700s, that it could change, that God could send in new information, and that humans were supposed to awaken to different programs at different times, and now is the time for everyone to fucking send the Jews to Israel. You know, how they did that or how they came to that conclusion, I don't know. You know, yeah, I could murder Christian Zionists. I could murder them. I could burn these people alive. They've done so much damage. They worship Jews. They will go after anyone who is not Christian except for a Jew. They get a total pass. They're allowed to be in control. Anyone who's not a Christian, they make a big fuss. Big fuss. But when it comes, you could be a Christ-hating Jew who spits on the cross and they will worship you.
Shall I read you the 6 points that Keith Woods tweeted?
Sure.
Christian Zionists have shown varying degrees of enthusiasm for implementing 6 basic political convictions that arise from their ultra-literal and fundamentalist theology. 1. The belief that the Jews remain God's chosen people leads Christian Zionists to seek to bless Israel in material ways. However, this also invariably results in the uncritical endorsement of and justification for Israel's racist and apartheid policies in the media among politicians through solidarity tours to Israel. 2. Yeah, they get their freebie to Israel. 2. As God's chosen people, the final restoration of the Jews to Israel is therefore actively encouraged, funded, and facilitated through partnerships with the Jewish Agency. 3. Eretz Israel, as delineated in Scripture from the Nile to the Euphrates, belongs exclusively to the Jewish people, therefore the land must be annexed. Palestinians driven from their homes and the illegal Jewish settlements expanded and consolidated. 4. Jerusalem is regarded as the eternal and exclusive capital of the Jews and cannot be shared with the Palestinians. Therefore, strategically, Christian Zionists have lobbied the U.S. administration to relocate its embassy to Jerusalem and thereby ensure that Jerusalem is recognized as the capital of Israel. 5. Christian Zionists offer varying degrees of support for organizations such as the Jewish Temple Mount Faithful, who are committed to destroying the Dome of the Rock and rebuilding the Jewish temple on Haram al-Sharif, noble sanctuary of Al-Aqsa. 6. Christian Zionists invariably have a pessimistic view of the future, convinced that there will be an apocalyptic war of Armageddon in the imminent future. They are deeply skeptical of the possibility of a lasting peace between Jews and Arabs and therefore oppose the peace process. Indeed, to advocate an Israeli compromise of land for peace with the Palestinians is seen as a rejection of God's promises to Israel and therefore to support her enemies. That's pretty hard line, isn't it?
Support Israel's enemies?
To advocate an Israeli compromise of land for peace with the Palestinians is seen as a rejection of God's promises to Israel and therefore to support her enemies. Well, a lot of it is pretty hard line. I mean, number 5 is wanting to destroy the mosque, the Al-Aqsa.
And they're all doing this for selfish motives. They don't give a shit about the Jews. They're just looking for Christ to come back and fucking kill them all or convert them all. This is not like, oh, we love the Jews and we want you to have your temple. No, this is ulterior motives. They want fucking Jesus to come back.
And convert them to Christianity.
Yeah, or kill them.
Well, which is why the Islamic narrative is important, but the Muslims are just sort of, ooh, what should we do? And then, okay, they basically decided they're not voting, these Muslims.
Well, they have problems too because, well, I don't even know what they believe about the Jews and eschatology and end times, but Abdul, who used to come in here, said we're going to only partially defeat them for a short period of time, but then they're going to come back. If your prophecy says you can't fully destroy the Jews, then you're not going to want to do it because that'll make your religion look false.
Well, I mean, as I said, if I were Muslim, I would be, going up to Jews and saying, hey, rabbis, what, how are you going to prove that your Torah is better than the Quran, assuming that that they both come from God? Because obviously the Jews are saying you're not supposed to change a word of the Torah, but then the answer is so easy, in that well, the Quran is not the Torah. And it represents the second and final revelation to mankind. And if you think your Torah is better, then you'll have to read the Quran to tell us why you think so. They could just do that, and even if the Jews all pretend not to have heard and refuse to engage, these Muslims can at least keep saying, well, we keep asking these Jews to prove how the Torah is better, but they won't. We wonder why. So I don't know what they're up to. Not very much, it seems. They're not doing the obvious thing. Because I really don't see how, Jews can prove that the Torah is better. Other than to say, well, the Goyim don't hate us as much as they hate you. They don't think we're all terrorists and, followers of, not all the things they usually say. Okay. I guess I'm tired now.
Okay, you want to go?
Well, unless you have anything more to say.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Well, Mycroft Wynn says, I'm more likely to vote than go Muslim, so I guess that's good news. And then he earlier says, I have positive feelings towards a who are homosexual. I think he means you, Vincent.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, my last time this happened, Milo, which I'm not Milo, so Milo is a Noahide.
Is he still a Noahide? How ridiculous.
He's 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 a Catholic Noahide. He's associated with
Oh,
Noahide is
these
Catholic.
rabbis, they make me so angry. And these Muslims, at least they could just sort of say, oh, hey, you can't say Christians are no hide. Because these Muslims are also conflicted. It's like, oh, but we have to gang up with the Christians because, we hate the Jews so much. So, yeah, everybody's just worshipping their hatred, I guess. I don't think they're reasoning properly. They're just going by who they hate more. But isn't that the case? Reasoning with their hatred rather than with ideas.
Yeah. Okay, Claire, I'll let you go.
All right. Thank
All
you
right.
for coming.
Yeah, bye.